Perhaps we need some outside universal threat to make us recognize this common bound. I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world.
Welcome to Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott, and tonight we are getting into alien abductions. What's it like to be taken? Is it good? Is it bad? Is it down the middle? Or is it outright horrendous? True stories. Beth Noyes, you may not know the name, but you will after tonight. Dirty Filth is here with another great story for his cartoons. And yes, we might have a blob sighting as well. All of you are here so far. Let's say hello to Race Fan in the gold medal position, Cashew in the silver with Chris 716 taking home the bronze. Hi, Dino Bravo and Human Carl, a great veteran of the United States Air Force. Thank you for your service, Human Carl. We love you around here. Lisa C., how are you? Kurt M., Brown Dwarf, and Laura Lobbs, nice to have you all here. Sandra Kincaid, Kevin, how you guys doing? Ann Palmer, been a while. Good to have you back. Thought you forgot where we were there for a little while. Raymond L. and Stephanie Kenny Blankenship, good to see you. Les Paul Holland, Pink Bolo, and T-Bone, a good Canadian kid, T-Bone. There he is. Welcome to SOR Chat. Trace B is here. Trace is going to be signing autographs after the show. Line up to the left of the studio, if you don't mind. To the left of the studio. Typical Skeptic, thank you so much for kicking off this super chat tonight. Very much appreciate your love and support of what we do here at Spaced Out Radio. Paramarv and Lee the Bee, how are you? Hi, Vanessa. Good to see you. Jenny White Bear, thank you for coming on in. Jessica World Blessings, welcome to SOR Chat. And Samantha Hazelwood Gray, nice to see you back. Nancy Thames, Penman. There you go, buddy. And continuing on, Pony Pong, good to have you here. John Corner, Nick Adkins, good to have you both. Science Melinda and Forrest Louie. Louie, thank you so much for that super chat. We love your continued support here on Spaced Out Radio, so thank you so much. All right, Justin Hemmingson, Bryson's Folly, welcome to SOR Chat. Ozzy, oi, oi to you. Doug Shelby is here. The Doug Shelby has arrived, which means we can officially start this show. Hi, D. Cohen and Richard Elmore. Good to see you both. And where are we here? Dutch Henk is back. Dutch Henk will be signing autographs after the show as well. Line up to the right of the studio, if you don't mind. To the right of the studio. Susan Alloway, Thomas Rock. Good to see you both. Glenn John McEnroe, the pride of Wimbledon. Thanks for coming on in. Hey, Mark Sanchez, Christine Lynn, Dave Walters, good to see you all. Phil the Stalker, good to have you here. Rob G., thanks for joining us. And who else do we have? Asteroid, good to see you, my man. And let's see here. Amarillo Cowboy, welcome to SOR Chat. And Jeff Steve Garvey, he'll hit a home run for you. Dutch UFO, good to see you here, my man. And where's our timer here? Okay. Sorry, I'm still getting used to everything that with this new setup here. Ozzy Sue, nice to see you. Rono, JMJ12, welcome to SOR Chat. Mystics Walk. The Gator Who Likes to Bite, welcome to SOR Chat. And Video Game Zombie, good to see you. Vlad the Impaler, nice to have you back. Alien Critter, good to have you here again. Mama Catherine, mwah, love you, my dear. Hope you're having a wonderful evening, my dear. Shade Viking, thank you for joining us. And Pixie Lara, the purple-haired one. Yeah, we love her around here. Just another guy named Harry. How you doing? Let's get the radio side started here, shall we? This way we can get Bill WD-40 into the chat room to lube us up for tonight's show. Okay, W. Decker, how you doing, buddy? And thank you for that great super chat. Very much appreciate your continued support of SOR. Love you, man. And TMI, you changed your picture. Good to see that. Mama Susan, nice to see you. Digger Dog, Timothman, Ross Lambda, good to see you all here. And let's see here. Scrolling on down. Alex Oyen, Under the Veil, welcome to SOR chat. Noble Patrick, good to see you. Debster, Baby UFO, Debster, thank you so much. From the mountains of central British Columbia to you listening around the world, this, my friends, is Spaced Out Radio. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. We welcome you to tonight's show on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on Odyssey Radio, TalkStream Live, and KPNL. All of our archives are free. Join us at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do old Davey the favor. Hit that subscribe button. You can follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on TikTok at Spaced Out Radio. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the newswire, check out our swag as well. Tonight's show is brought to you by Chive Charities. Help make the world 10% happier by visiting Chive Charities today. You can find them on our website. We got a great show when it comes down to alien contact tonight. Our guest, Beth Noyes, will be here momentarily to break down what it's like to be an alien abductee. Oh, I love these stories. And coming up in hour number 3, Steve Stockton will join us with a great story from Among the Missing, which is his YouTube channel. And we love it when Steve comes in here to drop us another freaky story. And, of course, right after that, we have Robin McCrae. She will be with us to bring us the Cryptid Report. Let's get to it, shall we? Beth Noyes grew up in the lake area in the Hills, Illinois area in 1989. She was just 20 years old. She had a single life, most life-changing experience event that she had ever had. It changed her view of everything. She was taken from her bedroom at 2 a.m. on a summer night, but by what she could describe only as extraterrestrials. Beth on the craft saw 7 other people that she knew. The next morning, they all called each other on the phone and then met in person to discuss what each and every one of them saw. I don't know about you. I'm already in goosebumps. Yeah, their accounts matched exactly. Now, as a nurse professionally, this isn't supposed to happen, but it does. And she's willing to talk about it tonight. Beth Noyes, very much appreciate you stepping in from our audience where you're usually hanging out to coming on Spaced Out Radio to tell your incredible story of alien abduction. How are you?
Great. Thank you for having me. I'm a little nervous, but
I'm a little nervous too because, I'm just gonna be blunt. We talk a lot, and Beth, you are usually in our audience, listening in on our YouTube channel, youtube.com// Spaced Out Radio, and we talk a lot about UFOs. We talk a lot about disclosure, what's happening. But I will tell you this: when I started this show almost 9 years ago, these are the stories that I wanted to share. And I wish there were more people like you out there who have decided that it is time to say what's happened. It is time to open up to the public to say, look, this is happening to people who work at Walmart, to people who work at the gas stations, to professionals like yourself in the nursing industry or the medical field, or people who are doctors or lawyers or carpenters or accountants or teachers. This happens to everybody. There is no favorite. It's not about tinfoil and people who are conspiracy theorists. This is something that is happening to anybody of all ages, whether they're just born this minute as we speak, or they're 80 years old. And, for you coming out and talking about this, why did you decide it was time?
It just feels like people now are ready to hear a little bit more about what's out there. Before it was people would laugh at you. What are you smoking? I think people are more awake now and are ready to see what, just opening their minds a little more accepting. And they're ready to hear.
So for you, as you rewind time for us tonight, this is going back 34 years. This is going back to a time where at 20 years old, it should be about college or getting your life started. It should be about parties. It should be about hanging out at a beach or at a camping area to have a couple beers with friends and have those good times with the music cranked and singing along to Leonard Skinner or Guns N' Roses or whoever it is on the cassette deck back then.
Oh, yeah.
We're not even going to the disc players, people. We're sticking with cassette decks here. Okay, I mean, was that your normal life up until then?
Yeah, just hanging out with my friends and exactly what you said, going to concerts. They were only $12 a concert to go to Van Halen. It was just a routine life, having fun with my friends. So, yeah.
So for you, what did you know about aliens and extraterrestrials or even UFOs before this incident?
So we didn't really, my friends and I we try to look in the sky. We were a little more, I guess, awake. We would do meditations, that sort of thing, but never really, we saw E.T. the movie. I think it was out by then, but, really didn't know a heck of a lot about what they looked like or what the ships even looked like. It was just a possibility, so didn't do a lot of research into it. I didn't even know MUFON existed back then. So pretty ignorant on it, actually.
Hey, don't feel bad about that ignorance, because I can tell you right now that even when I started having my experiences at 38, and then when the aliens came by the time I hit 40, I had no idea what a MUFON was or anything like that. I had zero clue. And so, it's easy to be blinded by this in trying to search where you are and who you are and what the situation is or who do you talk to. I mean, so I want to get to your experience. I'm so excited to get to your experience, but I want to wait until after the half hour because I want to make sure that a lot of listeners, they don't come in until around now. They start trudging on in, and I want to make sure that everybody doesn't get a chance to miss anything on this. So, for you, I mean, not knowing much about UFOs, aliens, MUFON, the entire community, for you, did you end up believing in UFOs? Did you believe? I know you mentioned you saw ET, but did you believe in UFOs? Did you believe that there was life out there in the stars?
I did. I actually did believe in it. Like my friends and I would, like I said, we'd watch the skies. We'd see anomalies in the skies. We'd see lights or cigar-shaped craft that would disappear behind clouds. We'd see, they'd just cruise along and all of a sudden the craft is no longer there and it just disappears behind a little cloud. We see this triangular shaped ship. We didn't know what it was, but we knew they weren't airplanes. And And then, you know, the typical believing in ghosts and all that stuff. But and
It's amazing how it all kind of comes together. And it's amazing how it all just bleeds into one. For me, it started with seeing the angel of death in my mother's eyes, in 2011. Then my house within days became haunted. And then as those hauntings continued, contact started. And then after that, it was meditation and trying to learn everything. Eventually, the UFOs started showing up. Did you see a progressive pattern in your experiences leading up to this?
I did actually. We we went to this group, my friends that were actually on the ship. We would have this meditation group. My friend's mother led it, and I'd never seen anything like this before, but she did some channeling, and I my mind got expanded. We went to crystal shows back in the 80s, Gem Fest. Um, I saw my first ghost when I was 3. That's my first memory as a Civil War ghost. Um, yeah, so, and that's how it just started with the meditations and the channelings, and then we started seeing more and more things as we were opening up. We did astral projection, which um, I didn't even know was a thing until I started doing it. And we did group astral projection too. We really worked on it before the abduction or whatever you want to call it. So
Oh, so you were a little bit of a weirdo. Let's
I
be
was
honest.
totally a weirdo.
You were totally a little bit of a weirdo leading up to this.
Yeah, a little bit. But I mean, I was normal as far as, I went to college at Drake University in Iowa, but it was just one summer of weirdness turned into an extreme summer of weirdness is what happened.
Okay, so being a weirdo, and I mean
Yeah.
that with all due compliment and respect.
Yeah.
Okay, because I'm a weirdo too.
Yeah.
So welcome to the club.
Thank
All
you.
right. Being that person who was looking for a spiritual alternative to what was considered the norm in life, how did you react to when new things happened? Because I don't know how it was for you, but for me, it seemed like a chain reaction where every couple months there would be something different showing up that I couldn't explain.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, the more you know, the more you find out you don't know, and it unlocks the next clue. It feels like it's a big riddle. The universe is a riddle, and we're constantly piecing things together. And you're absolutely right. The deeper you go, the more rabbit holes you go down, and the more the universe is it just exposes itself to you. The truths come out.
Okay, so let's go back to when you were 3 years old,
Yeah.
as you just mentioned, and saw that Civil War ghost. Tell us about that situation.
So I was just sitting in my room, like I said, I was 3, and I was putting pennies in my piggy bank, copper pennies, and I saw something to my right, and I looked over, and there was a window there, but in front of the window was a full body apparition. I could see the color of his uniform. It was blue, and I saw the color of his hair, his beard. He had double-breasted buttons, and I couldn't hear him, but I asked him what his name was, and he said his name was Marshall Goody. And so I heard his name, and then he just disappeared after that. But sorry, my computer keeps going out here. Anyway, so I told my mom about it. I drew him, and my dad go, that's a Civil War ghost, and how would a 3-year-old know what a Civil War ghost was? And so I kind of became afraid of him afterwards, because he just popped up and startled me, but he wasn't threatening, but it was kind of freaky. So that was my first experience, is just seeing a full body apparition.
Being that young, do you know how you reacted to it?
I was friendly to him. I looked at him. I wasn't judging him. I wasn't afraid. When he first showed up, I was not afraid. I just said, oh, what's your name? Do you want some tea? I asked him if he wanted to have a tea party with me, and he nodded yes. And so I was really open to it. I wasn't afraid of it until later, and because I thought he'd pop up anytime, but at the time I wasn't scared.
Hmm. Okay, so was that your only ghostly encounter leading up to your teenage and early 20 years where you went full on weirdo?
Yeah, not a whole lot after that. No, I didn't see a lot of other ghosts. That was my only ghost. And lights in the sky sometimes, but nothing out of the ordinary.
Do you think that you were meant for this contact or that you fell into it?
Well, when I was 5, um, I did something kind of atypical. I think I looked at something on the table as an apple, and I said, "You have to remember this the rest of your life. Everything about this apple you'll have to remember," which was really weird for a 5-year-old to say. So I knew that it was really important to keep my memory. So yeah, I think all these years later, I remember the encounter because I think I trained myself to remember at a young age. So I don't know. That was kind of a weird thing for a 5-year-old to remember an apple or remember something and to be able to always go back to that moment later in life.
Hmm.
Well,
So, what is your greatest recollection of when the UFOs started coming around?
I would say probably about 6 months before um, it showed up. So probably about 6 months to a year at the most. They started popping around for me. I just started looking up in the sky more. Maybe they were there, but I think about 6 months before, maybe a
So,
year.
I mean, do you recall asking for it? Do you recall saying, this is the next step I wanted to take?
I remember thinking, who's up there? What's up there? Um, I want to be shown. Uh, at first, I wanted to see who God was. That was my original intent. I said, who's God? I want to get up there and see who's really controlling things. I'm not saying that they are, but that's what my intent was. And then when I started seeing lights in the sky, I said, who's driving those, or why are they there? Who are they? And I wasn't, yeah, I had a lot of curiosity as to who was up there around us.
Who did you think was up there?
At the beginning, I thought it was maybe God or something, but in the very beginning. And then when I started seeing the lights more often, I knew they weren't from here, or if they were here, I felt they were extraterrestrials.
Had you ever felt extraterrestrials or their energy before?
Well, my friend, like I said, my friend Ellen's mom channeled being. We'd have a meditation group, and she would bring in this being. And when she did, her face would change. You could actually see an overlay over her face. And there's a big group of us, and we could see something over her face that kind of looked like not human. And her voice would change. And it was kind of a very powerful presence, like but it was benevolent, I believe, or neutral. But so that I felt that presence before. And yeah, I wasn't afraid of it either, but it was a lot to see. So that started about a year before the encounter we had. We went to about 3 of those channeling sessions.
Had you ever seen channeling sessions before?
Nope. That was my first time. I didn't even know what they were. My friend said, check out what my mom does. So we all went up there not knowing what to expect, and I was blown away, It was really weird. I mean, I went to 3 of them, and yeah, that was weird.
For people who've never been to a channeling session, maybe take the time to explain what that's all about.
So these people, they had it in their room or in the basement, They had crystals all over, and the main person who's doing the channeling, she would go into a meditative state, and she had two people on either side of her protecting her. She would do some deep breathing, meditate, just uh, holding crystals. And then, like I said, deep breathing. And then she would kind of straighten up. And it looked like she vacated herself, like she wasn't there and something stepped in. And there was a definite overlay. Do you remember what slee stacks look like from Land of the Lost? Do you remember them?
Yes.
So that's kind of what it looked like that was overlaid her face. And then they would answer questions. So we go around and you each get 3 questions and you ask the being questions and it would answer. And like some of the stuff, I have no idea how they knew. I mean, it was very intelligent, very specific. And then people would meet maybe 3 weeks later to say, yes, you were right, this happened. And so that, I guess she was the kind where she stepped out, her consciousness stepped out and something stepped in. That's the kind of channeling she did. Other kind of channeling, I guess, is where people are still there, but they step aside and the other being comes in. I don't recommend channeling to anybody, but it's very interesting to see.
Oh, come on. It's not that bad.
I would never do it myself.
It's not that bad. You
Oh my
know,
God.
I mean, if you can't channel a few aliens every now and
Yeah.
again, what are you supposed to do?
And
You
I
know?
think that they said that she said that the being's name, get this, the being's name was Zardonyx, and it was an extraterrestrial being, is what they said. So that was my first experience, if that's what it was, around an extraterrestrial. But that's not what the story's about here. But
Nonetheless, though, I mean, when you see somebody go into trance
yeah,
and start talking, it's pretty incredible. It's pretty heavy to watch.
their
And
voice changes, everything changes.
I learned about channeling the hard way because literally after I'd seen the angel of death in my mother's eyes, 2 hours later, not even knowing what channeling was, I actually channeled him. And he had told me how to keep my mother alive. So it was kind of interesting how you kind of get shoved into it. And it is a really weird experience to go through because you don't expect something to kind of take over or try to take over your body. That's for sure.
So you could see a change in the actual face and eyes, right? You could see,
I could feel it.
you
I could
felt it
feel I could feel the presence in me and talking through
through
me
you. Yeah.
when it happened. Yeah.
Yep.
You know, I mean, it's a crazy experience. Crazy experience that I say go for it personally. Not just me. Everybody should try it once. What the hell? You
Right.
know. But I mean the weird part is the messages that can come through. It's either very, very vague or extremely accurate. There never seems to be a real in between of what is being said or seen because I mean that's the problem with it is a lot of the vague answers you get you're like well anybody knows that
Right.
everybody knows that but it's the way it is. Deb, or pardon me, Beth, I'm going to get you to hold on right there because we are going to go to break here at the bottom of the hour, and when we return on Spaced Out Radio, I'm telling you, this is where it starts to get fun. This is where it starts to get real. What is it like to have an alien abduction? What's it like to see your best friends, your neighbors, your colleagues on a craft right beside you? It's an incredible story. Beth Noyes is here to tell her part on Spaced Out Radio. Very good start. Very good start. You're getting the nerves out, kiddo. We're
Oh,
rubbing the shoulders. We're making sure that everything is good. Hi, Blue Cruise. How you doing?
is that the Loch Ness Monster?
It could be. Maybe Ogopogo.
That's cool.
No.
Have others, can I read that? Others experience or witness UFOs? They haven't. Nobody else in my, or that they haven't. I'm not in the radio, right? I can answer that YouTube question, that super chat.
Uh,
Have others in your family had experience?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, no, not that they've seen lights in the sky, but as far as I know, they've never had what happened to me happen to them, or never admitted it. So, not that I know. But I heard that runs in families. Good question.
All right. I know we have a number of newbies here in our chat room tonight. Just so you know, we are a hybrid of a live radio show, a live YouTube channel, and of course our podcast. You guys kind of get to see behind the scenes during commercial breaks. So that's why we're kind of taking a break right now and making things kind of casual. I'm not getting into any questions. But if you could, we'd love it if you hit subscribe and rang that bell for us. Give us a thumbs up, thumbs down. And after the show, leave a comment because it really does help with our algorithms on the show. So if you could, that would really, really be awesome. Just awesome. Just saying. I mean, you don't have to, but...
How many more? Can I run to the bathroom quick?
Yeah, we got about 3 minutes.
I'll be back.
All right, sprint. Make it a good one. Don't forget to wash your hands. Something tells me that's going to be a good one. The way she sprinted out of there, that's going to be a good one. Yeah, I went there. That's right, Paranormal Pixie. Channel your inner ET and zap that like button. Ron Baca, how you doing? Philip Baca, how are you? Asimov, how you doing? You have the door locked behind you so the aliens can't get in or the dogs and cats can't get in?
That doesn't keep the aliens out.
Just
It
making
doesn't
sure.
do anything. It's for a puppy. I have a puppy in the basement. Someone's watching, so just in case she starts barking.
Very cool. Very cool. How are you doing down there, Dirty Filth? He's talking away without taking his mute off again.
I'm doing well, Dave. How are you?
I'm doing good. You
like my Loch Ness Monster?
I do, but I also like the idea that you always forget to, you're always talking without taking your mute button off.
It's just safer that way.
Yes. Hey, is that a new type of pencil you got there? Or?
These are old guys. They're watercolor pens. It's a pen.
I've never seen you use those.
I try to sneak them in once in a while for good detail.
MM3, welcome to SOR chat. We'll get to your question in hour number 2. Yes, she did, Bryson. All right. Hi, Shelly. How are you? Dirty Filth with a nice color green. What color green is that, Dirty?
Chartreuse.
Yellow green. But yes, I was going to say chartreuse because looks like I'd use it on a fishing lure.
I have some chartreuse in this house. You know, the original chartreuse, my mom used to think chartreuse was red. And it's part of the chartreuse is actually part of the Mandela effect. Because I only remember it being green. But if you Google it, it's actually almost like a burgundy, a faded burgundy red. Hey, veteran surf chair, how you doing, buddy? Thank you for that wonderful super chat, my man. I hope you're doing well. And thank you not only to Jer, but to Mama Catherine, Charles, Deb, W. Decker, Louie, Skeptic, or Typical Skeptic as well, for the lovely super chats. We very much appreciate it. Here we go with the second half hour. Second half hour of Spaced Out Radio is now underway. Good to have you with us. My name is Dave Scott. I'm the guy who wears a lot of tinfoil, enough to carry a bunch of you with me, just for safety reasons, of course. I want to remind you that if you have missed portions of this show or others, check out our free archives by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the news wire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on TikTok at Spaced Out Radio. Here we go. Our guest tonight, Beth Noyes. She is a professional by trade. She is a nurse, but her secret is she's also an ET abductee and contactee. And this is the story that we are getting to tonight. Beth, thank you so much for joining us. Very much appreciate you stepping on in and telling your personal story. You have not told it a lot publicly. What made you decide that it was time?
I'd say, like I said, I think people are ready for it. I think we're at a pivotal moment where disclosure is right around the corner. There's going to be a lot of false narratives. There's going to be a lot of fear. I think it's good to get perspectives of people that have met them, at least some of them, to kind of fill in the gaps, because you're hearing a lot of things out there that aren't necessarily true, or they're co-opted stories. I think it's good to hear from people that have encountered these beings. I think people are ready.
Let's go back to 1989.
Yeah.
Set it up for me. What happened?
All right. So 1989, it was a summer evening. Like I said, 2:00 in the morning. I'm laying down in my bed. I'm facing, my feet are towards the window. I have my shade up, laying down. And I looked, like I said, looked at the clock, 2 a.m. I looked out the window and it looked like a star. It got brighter. So I was thinking it was a helicopter outside my window. Then I saw a beam of light come, it went down, a bluish white light, and then it went directly into my window on me. So I got freaked out. I jumped up, I ran down the hall, and the light stayed on me through the walls. At that point, once I realized the light was still on me, I stopped. And in my head, a voice said, "We need you to come with us, but we won't take you until you say okay." So I said, okay. Then, do you have any questions yet?
Oh, I'm listening intently.
Yeah, I was definitely freaked out when that light came in. I wasn't expecting that. Ran down, and when the light stayed on me through those walls, I was at first really scared because I confused.
So
And then that,
you think at any time you were sleeping that this was a nightmare or a lucid dream?
Yeah, but the weird thing was I had just laid down and I looked at my clock, red digital clock, 2 a.m. And I looked out the window. So in my mind, I thought maybe at the time I thought, it would be really hard to fall asleep that quickly and to be that deep into a dream. But at the time, no, I didn't think it was a dream at all. And I'll get to why.
Well, please do.
Okay. So after it said, we need you to come with us, but we won't take you until you say okay. I said okay. And instantly I was in a little craft. I was sitting in a craft. There's a console in front of me. And to my immediate left, there was a being that looked like what you say is a gray. I didn't know what grays were, but it was about 4 feet tall, but it was sitting. It had a really tight suit, pantsuit, whatever, no zippers, no buttons. It didn't even look at me. It was just focused on the controls. It had kind of flattened long fingers, and the tips were kind of flattened. There was no knobs in the ship. It was just all a flat panel. And to the left of that being was my friend Frank, who leaned forward and looked at me and shouted, "This is effing awesome." And he pumped his fist and he was happy as heck. The being didn't react to Frank. It just kept doing its job. And I looked over at Frank and I felt totally relaxed then. I was comforted knowing that he was right there. So at this point, it's just me, the little guy in the middle that just was focused on his job, and I could see darkness in front of us. And then Frank to his left, or its left. So that's where that went. And sat back, enjoyed the ride. It didn't seem like much more of a 5-10 minutes, maybe a really short ride. And we came up to a larger ship. I couldn't see what the outside of the ship looked like. I could just see the entry. It was like a half moon with a flat surface. We landed inside, got out, and I don't remember walking out. The next second, we were just outside of it, walking towards this room. There was white light. The door opened. It was the brightest white light you've ever seen. I mean, it was so bright. It took me a few seconds for my eyes to adjust. And I looked around and I yelled, "Where are the light bulbs?" And everybody in that room looked at me like I was shouting, because I probably was. I said, "Where are the light bulbs?" There weren't any lights. The ceiling, the floor, the walls, there were no shadows. It was pure white light in there. And in that room, my friend Ellen was laying on a white table. She was face up. Her head was towards me. And there was a being that was a little taller than the other being that was driving the ship. It had a high robe on, no hair, whitish, bluish, tan skin, big eyes. And the eyes, if you've ever seen labradorite, it's just a dark, really big eyes, little mouth, no ears. And the robe, what was really cool about their robes, there was 3 of these beings in there. The robes seemed like they weren't sitting directly on their skin. They were metallic, and they were just kind of flowing. And I thought that was really weird, that it wasn't touching their skin. It was just kind of undulating. And this being that was next to Ellen's right had like a cloth that looked like a shiny cloth, and it was kind of dragging it over her energetic field. It went counterclockwise, and then it went clockwise. Don't know what it was doing, but it seemed like a scan. There was no probes or anything like that. It was just very calmly scanning her energy, I believe. And also I saw, I'll only use their first names because only one person's given me permission to talk about this, and that's Frank. But Ellen was in there, Ellen's mother, Bonnie, Joey, Steve, another Joe, and Brent were all in there. And Bonnie, I think I said that. But they were in there, and there was a total of 3 taller beings also in this white room. And the other people were just standing, kind of huddled together. And, one of the taller beings was talking to a group over here, and one was paying attention to Ellen, and the other one was talking to Ellen's mother, Bonnie. And they were all speaking telepathically. I was the only one that shouted because I yelled, "Where are the light bulbs?" And then I got the idea of like, hey, use your inside voice, basically. You speak quietly telepathically in here. So anyway, so I knew all those people. All those people I worked with, I was friends with. They all lived within maybe 30 miles of me. And after Ellen was done on the table, I just knew it was my turn. Like they told me it was my turn to lay down on the table. And these beings like emitted just a sense of calm, kind of love, peacefulness, definitely no fear at this point. I laid down on the table, and I just remember looking at their skin. It was kind of like a mottled looking skin. It was different colors. It wasn't one color. It was kind of a flowing, modelly skin.
Kind of like claymation.
Yeah, and it was like different. It was like there's tan woven in with white, woven in with blue, and it kind of seemed like it was moving a little bit. The color was, not the skin. Anyway, so I laid down, and the same being that did that with Ellen, I was instructed to lay down, and it did counterclockwise. If you imagine a washcloth that you're holding on both ends, and you're dragging it across the bathtub, you know how it kind of just glides along if you hold both ends and you pull it on the water. That's what it was doing above me. It was kind of floating over me. So counterclockwise, then clockwise. Yeah, and then after that was done, I got up, and Ellen's mother, Bonnie, came over to me, and she was talking to me telepathically. I've never spoken telepathically before, and I don't know how I knew how to do it or how I was hearing it. That was the first time, but I could understand everything. And she was saying, "Isn't this wonderful? What a gift. This is great." She was excited. Ellen was excited. And then after I was done, one of the tall beings, I know your radio listeners can't see this, but just for YouTube people, that's kind of the scene I had. That's kind of what they looked like.
So they were about 6 feet tall,
Yes.
wearing silverish robes with big black almond eyes. Your
Yes.
typical gray looking being.
Yes. Yes. Exactly. Good description. So then after I was done on the table, this being told me to come over to him or her and look at something. And it had so this being, same thing, it had like bluish, blackish eyes, very peaceful face, very calm, very little nose, almond, a gray shaped head, I guess, high collar, skinny neck. And the white wall turned into a window. Like it didn't push any buttons. It just turned into a window, and it told me to look down. And I looked down, and I saw a waterfall, and the waterfall was maybe like 3 floors down, and there was little guys driving the carts, the same one that was driving the ship in the beginning. They were down in these little carts that were working down there. Anyway, but on the waterfall, there were bioluminescent plants I'd never seen before, very exotic. and then the workers were down there. So it kind of looked like a courtyard in the middle of their ship is what I'm assuming, in the center part. And I asked, who are they? Like the short guys. I go, who are they? And the being told me they're the workers. And I said, okay, and who are you? And the being said, we are your teachers. We've been here since the beginning. We're here to guide. We take beautiful things from different planets, like I was thinking the plants, maybe animals, and we bring them to other locations. And again, the plants were glowing. They were bright red, blue, just bioluminescent. And the being said, Frank remembers this too. He said, you would call us Arcturian, but I don't know. They don't look like any Arcturians I've seen recently, but we are your teachers. We're here to guide you. And then after that, I was back in bed. 2:05, looked at the clock, 2:05. And I thought it was a dream at that point. I'm like, that was super weird dream. So I just went to sleep. And then the next morning, 8 o'clock in the morning, the phone started ringing. And it's in the kitchen. My mom's yelling, Beth, phone, 8 a.m. I go out there, and the first person that called me was Ellen. And Ellen said, what did you think of that last night? What do you remember? And I said, well, what do you remember? Because I wanted to see if what she remembered was the same thing. And she said, we were up on a ship. I said, describe the beings. She described the beings. I go, who was there? And she named every person that was there. So that was weird. And she said, I'm going to have my mom call you too, because her mom was up there. So Bonnie calls me, and Bonnie had never called me before. That was the first time. And she said, what do you think of our dream? So here at this point, I'm thinking we had a common dream, which would be weird, but and then Bonnie said, that wasn't a dream. And I said, okay, well, who did you see and what did you see? And she named described the taller beings, what they were wearing, what the room was like, who were the humans up there, and she knew them. And I hung up with her. I'm like, okay, still thinking it was a dream. I called Frank. And he said he remembered everything. And he was still excited, but kind of annoyed. And I said, what did you say to me on the first ship? And he said, this is effing awesome. So right there, I had confirmation that he remembered exactly what I remembered. And I said, that's weird. We had the same dream. That's really weird. He goes, it wasn't a dream. I was walking down the highway at 2 o'clock in the morning. And he goes, I thought it was a truck with its high beams on. So I turned around to flip the guy off. And the next thing I know, I'm on the ship with the first ship yelling, this is effing awesome to you. And then they dropped him off 2 miles away from where they picked him up. So he didn't get home till like 4 in the morning. He had to walk all the way back. They dropped him off in the wrong place.
That's terrible. Bad aliens right there. You'd think they would have perfected Uber by now.
Yeah,
you
right?
know?
So it wasn't. And then I had to go to work. And where I worked, Joey and Steve were the owners. They're the chef and the owner of this restaurant that I worked at. And Ellen also worked there. So I showed up at 10 o'clock at work. Ellen comes running up to me. And she's saying, do not talk to Joey and Steve about this. They are absolutely freaked out. They think we did it. They think that we somehow orchestrated this whole event. And I'm like, how could I do that? And so I walked up to Joey, who was the chef, and I said, what do you remember? And he looked really scared. He said, do not talk to me. He was angry and scared. Don't talk to me about it. Just don't talk to me. And he was serious. He said, effing don't talk to me about it. So, but he did tell Ellen what he remembered. And it's the same thing. They got brought up. So Joey and Steve were freaked out. Only one person didn't remember was my friend, the other friend, Joe. And Joe said that he'd been, because we all saw him up there. And he said, I wasn't up there. And I said, but we saw you. And he's like, well, I drank a lot of gin and smoked some weed before I went to bed. So I think he was wasted and he just didn't remember. But we all saw him. So he doesn't remember any of it, unfortunately.
I have so many questions for you.
Hit
If
me
you
with
don't
them.
mind me getting a couple in here with about 4 minutes to go before we go to break at the top of the hour. Why do you think they allowed all of you to have recall? Because so many people out there do not have, myself included, do not have any recall whatsoever of seeing other people, of recognizing other people, of the communication that they brought forward. What's your thoughts on this?
It's for disclosure. I think that when also another thing they told me that there's good and there's bad beings just like anywhere else. And when the time's right, you'll know when it is, you'll come forward with information. So I think that they saw disclosures coming. They know it's coming. They want to get some of the truth out there of what's going on. I think we all remembered and we got, verified through talking to each other that it was real, that now's the time to tell people about it, and I think that it was a move towards helping humanity know that they're not alone. They're not all scary. Some of them have been here forever. They're here. They could be our guides. And so basically, I think we were intentionally left with the memories for this time.
Okay. The fact that so many of you had recall on it, were your symptoms the same? Were your experiences the same? When you went on the table, were they looking for the same thing?
I think so. The only person, okay, so I saw Ellen on the table and I was on the table. I didn't see everybody else get on the table. So once I saw everybody up there, I don't know if they did other things. I didn't have my eyes on them the whole time. So maybe they had a different experience, but I doubt it. I think they were just I didn't see anybody leave the room. So, I mean, they could have had a little, maybe they were talked to and they didn't go on the table. The only two that for sure went on the table that I know of was Ellen and then me. And then I went and talked to the other being and then I was back in my bed. But I saw the taller beings talking to, everybody. And Ellen's mom was talking to everybody, trying to calm people, not calm people down, but just help them through it, I guess.
Makes sense. She was kind of like the guide on everything. So, I mean, that totally makes sense.
I think she facilitated it somehow. I don't know if because she was the channeler. I don't know if it's the same being she channeled because it didn't look like the being that she brought in. But I think that because she was very advanced, that she helped all of us calm down and helped us make sense of it all.
Do you think that was the purpose of it?
Yeah, I think I think that the other message is, like the whole thing about being unified, being awake now, loving each other was very important to get rid of petty differences and know that we're in this together. Not to give a huge pep talk, but it's so we know who our adversaries are and we know how to get through these times, because I know disclosures, it's here, we got to help each other through it.
We're going to continue with your incredible experience when we get back here on Spaced Out Radio for hour number 2. Beth Noyes is our guest. A real-life human encounter with extraterrestrials, full recall as well. We'll get to your questions if you posted them in YouTube or on Twitter. Spaced Out Radio continues with hour 2 next. All right, Beth, we're going to turn things over to Dirty Filth here for a little while. He's going to tell everybody where they can find his book and all this kind of stuff. I'm going to step away for a couple minutes. Be right back. Dirty, over to you.
Over to Dirty Filth in the newsroom. All right. If you go to filthy.com, FYLTHY.com, you can buy my book there. And you should buy one for your mom and also one to line your bird cage. And you can buy prints and junk there too, if you want a print of previous drawings and everything. And there's also a link there if you want to shoot me a message. Maybe I'll send you a Christmas card or something at Christmas time.
That's awesome. What's shooting out of the water? What is that? Besides, what is that?
It's a little Tic Tac.
Oh, that's cool. Oh, you're so talented.
I hadn't drawn a Nessie for a while. It's been mostly aliens. So I decided I'd draw some Nessie action there.
Look how terrible my drawing is. That's me and Frank on the ship. Do you see it?
Yeah.
That's my cartoon drawing. Yeah.
That's crazy. I mean, I
It's
seen a bear in real life one time across the street from me. That was pretty exciting, but I haven't seen an alien in person. So,
What'd you see across the street?
I seen a black bear across the street from me when I lived in Vancouver. That was interesting. I was kind of scared.
Oh yeah, they'll mess you up.
But I survived.
Yeah, and if you were to these beings, I'd say, you know how people say, are they malevolent, benevolent, neutral? I'd say the workers were neutral, and the other guy was the taller ones were benevolent. Is how I judge them. There wasn't no probes. No probes for fiber optics.
You know, the workers, they just want to get paid and they want to go home.
Yeah,
they got to feed their cat when they get home.
It felt like they didn't have full consciousness. Like they weren't. It's really weird. Well, and the other ones had full consciousness.
Apparently, some of them are part robot or something. I don't really know. I'm not an investigator.
I agree.
Can't remember off the top of my head.
Yeah, they're biosynthetic. But
maybe that's what happened at Roswell.
The ship interacts with them too. Like all they have to do is think or command it and it'll do it, whatever. It's like the ship's alive too. It was really weird.
Apparently, if you're ever on a ship, you should try to touch the walls because sometimes it's a living being itself.
Yeah, I think it was. It looked like mushroom, like a white mushroom texture. And it was glowing. It was super
If I ever
weird.
found myself on a ship, that's what I'd do. If I remembered.
If you remember, I wish I would have had a
totally
cell phone
touch the walls.
camera. Touch the walls.
Thanks, Mr. Brown Dwarf. Ooh, hi, Kira. Hi, everybody that I wasn't able to type out to. I forgot to say hi to a million people, so hi now, everybody. It's not done yet, Max Stacks. I just can't ramble and draw at the same time, otherwise I start drawing all over the place. It's okay if a cat bumps me, but when I mangle my own drawing, then I just kind of feel bad about myself. And I've never actually had any catastrophes like spilled paint on any of my artwork.
Oh, thank God.
Cats are relatively okay.
Oh, you're very talented. A lot of messages in all your cartoons too.
I try to cram as much as I can into one little 4x7 piece of artwork.
Yeah, it's very dense. It's very good.
What's Dave?
Pretty
Order?
Filth, I'm all happy right now.
Why?
I was scrolling through my Instagram on the videos, and I saw a really good hockey fight where a guy skated right into the penalty box and started fighting the guy in the penalty box, and just
Nice.
brought back good memories of my old Davy in the senior men's league back in the day, going at a guy in the penalty box.
You know, Dave, I was telling Filthy that I think the ship was kind of alive too. I think it had it looked like mushroom, like a white mushroom texture.
Nice.
And it
Very
reacted. Yeah.
We'll get to that here momentarily.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
All right. Want to say thank you to all of our new listeners who are in our chat room tonight. There's a lot of you. Don't forget to hit subscribe, ring that bell, as we are here 7 days a week for your listening entertainment. Thank you to Typical Skeptic, Louis ×2, W. Decker, Deb, Charles, Catherine, Surf Jer, Jocelyn, and MM3 for the super chats. Our store is open on our website, spacedoutradio.com. Here we go with hour number 2.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio with Dave Scott. Follow Dave on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Facebook, Spaced Out Radio Show.
Here comes hour number 2 of Spaced Out Radio tonight. Good to have you with us. My name is Dave Scott. Very much appreciate earning your listening ears wherever you are on this beautiful planet we call Earth. Hello to everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on Odyssey Radio, TalkStream Live, and KPNL. All of our archives are free. Please join us at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Oh my gosh. Bahurivi. No, that's wrong. Bahuvrihi. There we go. Bahuvrihi is your password. Use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the Newswire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on TikTok at Spaced Out Radio. What is it like to be abducted by aliens? Our guest tonight, Beth Noyes. She is a nurse by trade, but for the past 34 years, she got herself some aliens. She's got some great experiences. She has run the gamut with extraterrestrial contact. Beth, thank you so much for being here.
Oh, thank you, Dave.
When you were on that ship, what did you notice outside of your friends who were with you?
I noticed that like I said, there was no source of light. There was no shadows, but the ceiling, the walls, the floor, everything was kind of rounded in there. It seemed like it was a biological type ship, meaning it kind of looked like, if you think of a white mushroom, that's kind of the texture it had. I didn't touch it, but it was glowing, and it seemed to interact with the occupants' thoughts. It seemed to, like when I went over to the wall, all the being did was wave their hand and it turned into a window. So it's connected to them. They seem like they manipulate it by thought or intention. And I try to guess, like, why, like, do they take if they have DNA, if they take their DNA and mix it with the components of the ship, like the bio, and that way it's tuned into them. What else can I say? Like I said, there was no shadows. The robes were, they had gravity, but their robes were, for whatever reason flowing on. They seemed like they were moving. on their electrical field, like the shoulders weren't touching their shoulders. It was just kind of floating. And it was very peaceful. It was very peaceful. It was a very calming energy in there.
Were they walking or were they hovering above the floor?
I believe I couldn't see their feet because they had the robes on, but they were the taller ones. They walked smoothly. They didn't have like a side to side gait. They had a very smooth gait. It didn't look like they were floating around, but they were walking very, very smoothly. All their motions were intentional and very smooth, no jerky movements. But everything had intention, everything they did, it seemed like. The littler beings, they seemed kind of like neutral, and they didn't have as much consciousness. And the workers I'm talking about, the shorter ones, they just seemed focused on the job. I remember thinking that it's not equal, that's not fair to have different classes, but that's just how it is. It didn't seem like they didn't interact with us. So I thought that was a little different. They seemed more not as smooth and graceful as the taller ones. So
You've mentioned a couple of times how peaceful this felt, how it didn't feel any sort of anger or viciousness or anything, and it's very complex at the same time that you are having this extraordinary encounter. Why do you feel, or do you maybe feel that it was shown peaceful to you because maybe that was a mind implant rather than what it maybe truly was?
like a screen memory or something like that?
Yes.
So, no, I mean, I guess I wouldn't have anything to compare it to. I truly felt it in my heart. I truly felt calm. I mean, it could be that, but even all these years later, I still don't change my opinion of how I felt about them. It very well could have been a projection of what they want me to think they are. That could be another layer to it, absolutely. But I'd like to think it was benevolent. I'd like to think that we have guides out there, teachers, that are rooting for us. Some people are beings on our side. I know.
I'm not saying that everything is negative, okay? I know
Yeah.
there's a lot of people out there who do believe that any sort of alien contact is evil or demonic. I've had the good, I've had the bad,
Yeah.
I've had the ugly, and I think we as humans do know if something is being covered up or something is not what it seems to be. So for you having this experience with these friends of yours, and then afterwards when you all came together, how did you guys feel getting together and saying, what the hell just happened to us? I mean, we were in 7 different locations. We all got taken. We all had this amazing experience. I mean, I don't even know how I would react to that.
It was like a euphoria. Even we were young, we were very excited. We knew it was a big deal. It's all I could think about, all I wanted to talk about. Ellen, Frank, and I were definitely excited, and we wanted to go back after. We're like, oh, I hope they get us again. That was so cool. But they didn't. But, that's all we talked about for a long time. And
Was this your only event?
as far as I know, yeah. I mean, it's my only event back then. I've had something stupid show up late in 2006 in my house, but I've had a shorter gray, where you get the sleep paralysis, and he was standing at the foot of my bed, and I could have just been sleeping too, but he was ugly, and he was observing me, and he was in my space. At least they didn't come into my space. This guy came into my space and was observing me, like monitoring me, and he did not have a good feeling about him. He had a horrific feeling, and I told him to get the F out. Never come back. You're not welcome. I don't consent to this. And as far as I know, they didn't come back, but I was worried in my head that they were going to mess with my kids. I had children at that time, and I said, that's fine that I had that experience and it was good, but maybe my kids shouldn't have that experience. Maybe it's too much for other people. So yeah, that was the only other one where I think I was face to face with an ET, when that guy wasn't good in 2006.
Why did you feel that guy in 2006 wasn't very good?
Because, well, he was shorter. Not that that's bad, but he was like 3 feet tall, and he kind of had a wrinklier face, looked like a gray. His suit was different. This guy had like zippers. So, I mean, I don't, his suit was different. His suit looked like something from here.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that really, I don't know if that's an extraterrestrial, or if it's looking back, that could have been a man-made one, because I know we can create them too.
Yes, there
Like
is.
Earth.
There is definitely that aspect of it all as well. So the fact that you had, 20, well, let's see here, 17 years, pardon me, between experiences of extraterrestrials, is it still continuing today?
No, I feel like I don't go up on the ships. I feel like I can connect to them if I want to in meditation. I feel like I can talk to them, but I don't go up on their ships that I know of. They don't come here. I see a lot of ship sightings. I see a lot. I see, I see a lot in the skies that I point out to other people. Some people can't see it, which is weird. But after a while, they're able to see it. So, but as far as the actual beings manifesting or lights coming in my room, that hasn't happened since,
Mm-hmm. Why do you think you were chosen for this?
I think the group was chosen. I think the group was chosen because, first of all, I think because I was open. I think a lot of us had psychic abilities. I had a good memory. I think that I just think, and it could be that we're soul. I don't know if there's soul groups, but maybe we're a soul group. We're also close to each other, and obviously open-minded if we're going to channeling sessions. So maybe they thought, hey, these guys might not be that freaked out if we show them. Maybe.
Did you have any inkling or feeling that you had recognized these beings before this incident?
Yes, they felt familiar. They felt like I've been with them before. I knew them. Family. It was a very close. Like I've met them many times, or I've been with them many times, and even at one point I thought maybe if I had actually been up there before myself as one of them. But that's kind of way out there. But
Did it feel like Star Family?
yes, exactly.
So for people who may not understand that, please explain what that feeling is like.
So it feels like a star family. How I define it is a group that comes to Earth for a mission, whatever that may be. You've worked before, you've had a life with them, but you come together and you have a mission, is what it feels like. And you kind of touch base. You feel connected to them. You feel guided by them. So you just feel a kinship, a similar frequency to them, and like you've had a long history with them.
You feel abandoned now?
No, I know they're still there. But it's I've got work to do, and it's not. I don't need to be up there the whole time. I feel like my work's here. They've given me plenty of evidence that I know that they're there. I feel that if I needed help, I could connect to them. If I needed guidance, what to say, how to be, what to, whatever. I know that they're there, just with a thought,
Do you feel that this experience that you had with this, that there was a learning lesson that was supposed to come along with it? And if so, what was that learning lesson?
Okay, well, this might be kind of weird, but I feel like in the past, we were a soul group and we failed a mission. We failed something. And this might sound weird, but like back in Atlantis, that's kind of where I'm going. And this is just what that we failed a mission. And this time we're here to make sure things are done the right way. We don't take we take the higher road. We take the spiritual road, spirituality over tech, over. I think we got too far away from the spirituality, and to help people unite and get through these times, have no fear, trying to get rid of the fear and see things for what they really are, which is really hard now.
Do you think that upsets them that we've gone from our own spirituality to our own technical gods, whether it's the internet, our iPads, our smartwatches, or whatever it may be?
Yeah, definitely. It's a tool, but I think that definitely not like the brain chip route. All that is not the route we need to go. I'm echoing. I don't think they're disappointed. I think that they know that we'll succeed this time. Sorry, I have somebody next door making noise. I think that they're not disappointed, but they are caught. They're a little concerned that we are into our tech, and that some people are losing grasp of what's really important. But I feel like we are going to evolve properly. It feels like in the past when we didn't evolve, and that we got perverted with the technology over spirituality, that our civilization failed. And I feel like it's come around again, and we're very parallel to that time.
That's almost scary.
Yeah, we're at a very pivotal time right now. Don't be scared, but it's a big deal, in my opinion. It's time to just be happy, be in love, see beautiful things, and don't get fooled with all the negativity and all the evil that's out there. We're trying to get rid of that. And then I think once we do, then, which I think we are on that path, even though it looks terrible right now, we're on the path. It's just being exposed because all the light is coming in and flushing out all the darkness, and we're just seeing it now. And then in order for us to get rid of it, we have to see it. So might get a little worse before it gets better, but just hang on to what's important,
Has this phenomena affected your family, your children? Have they seen things as well?
Yeah. Well, I mean, just the fact that I've been telling them the same thing over and over since it happened. They're like, it's never changed. You've stayed the same. At first, I don't know if my mom believed me because she saw everybody calling me, but I told my children, and I think it helped them be more open-minded. My dad, not so much. He still thinks it's weird, but as far as their experiences, they've seen ships with me, and my boys have. So they know they're there. But I hope they've never been abducted, not, but they don't recall ever having that happen. Yeah, but they're definitely open-minded. They know that there's more, and they're not demons, and there might be demons out there, but that these guys aren't. So my kids are very open-minded.
Why do you think they were one and done with you?
If they were, that one time, I think it was enough, just to get the job done. And also, I don't think they wanted me to perseverate on always wanting to go back there, because the more I saw them, the more I wanted to leave. I really felt like I could have stayed with them. And I need to do work here. So, I think they're there if I talk to them. I think I can connect to them still for guidance, but it's kind of like not a game. It's a lot of people, never mind. It's a very important mission. I think that some people just want to keep going there. And the more you go there, the more you want to be there and not here, but the focus is here.
Were you implanted?
I have no idea. I don't think so. Not to my knowledge. I didn't have any marks that I was aware of. I do have an anomalous, like a bizarre growth at the top of my spine that they don't know what it is at the top right in my skull there. And they're like, well, it's an osseous hematoma is what that is, but we don't know how it got there. It's a very unusual placement of one, but that's what it's called, an osseous hematoma. It's a little teeny thing at the top of my spine. So, but I don't know if it's an implant or if it's just a weird thing, but it's very rare.
Do you look at it as, with 30 seconds ago, that you are going to be expecting more coming from how can I put it? Coming from the extraterrestrials?
Yes.
Or do you think you're done?
I think there's coming. I think there's a lot more coming. I think there's a lot more. I think that I had a little break, and now it's full blast ahead. I think I'll be seeing them again, and we all will. Not just them.
Well, we'll soon see. We're going to get into audience questions when we return on Spaced Out Radio with our guest tonight, Beth Noyes. You may not know her name, but she is the ultimate ET experiencer. And if you haven't heard her story, you're going to have to hit rewind on the podcast or on our YouTube channel. It's been an incredible night here on Spaced Out Radio. The personal experience is still the best experience when it comes to aliens. Beautiful. Beautiful. We'll get to audience questions next. And go from there. Good morning, Commonwealth Andrew. By the way, as you all can see here, I do have my map up. So if you could let me know which country you're from, outside of the people I already know, especially most of the Americans, that would be wonderful. So that way I can mark it on my map. It is a pincushion map. I'm excited about this. Anne is in Canada. Where in Canada are you, Anna? You're typing like you're from Toronto because you forgot your period at the end of your sentence. Corpus Christi, Texas. That's dead fish. Home of Hockey Hall of Famer Brian Leach. Denver, Colorado. Andrew's in the UK. Pony Pong, you're from the Netherlands. Oh, yeah, I didn't know you had some Dutch in you. I knew Anna was in Ontario. I knew it. Edward's in Las Vegas. How you doing, man? My second home away from home. I will live in Vegas one day. More Texas. Pissing me off, Evan Walters. Super Tex with that super beard. How you doing? Beth is in the U.S. All right. Mama Susan's from Edmonton. No, I cannot, lovely Kira. Let's see here. Maybe, Anna, are you from Mississauga? Is that where you're from? Or Windsor? CS, how are you? Ian from Scotland. Oh, this is so exciting. I don't know if I can, Human Carl. I haven't put any pins up there yet. D. Cohen, he is our spy in Washington, D.C. Gailey in Michigan, how are you? Grand Rapids, home of the old Griffins. I put a hockey team with almost any town, except Pueblo, Colorado. Hey, Chillgasm, how are you? Hey, Yumi Doll, you are not from Area 51. I'll give you Vegas, but not Area 51. I don't think you live near Rachel or Tonopah. Grand Paul Holland, I know you're in Australia. Mm-hmm. Max Staggs, east of the Rockies. Dial 1-800-574-3261. Hi, Dirty Filth. I hear you popping your microphone on and off.
Well, I was swearing at the cats.
Why were you swearing at the cats?
They keep knocking things over, and there's no way I can ever stop it, so I just have to accept it. But I still have to swear at them.
Oh, true.
They just look at me with indifference and saunter away.
Let's see. Body Tech, good morning. Deal you woo poo. I miss Art Bell too. If you notice, if maybe you haven't, but if you have noticed at the bottom of the hour, we have always tributed since 2018. We have always tributed Art Bell with the lightning, with the thunder. You'll hear it when we come back. Mm-hmm. It's kind of our thank you for paving the way. Triple Tom, how you doing, buddy? Big Bad Tex, thank you for that wonderful super chat. Your beard is out of this world, Tex. Much love to you. Human Carl, Louis ×2, MM3, Jocelyn, Surf Jer, Mama Catherine, Typical Skeptic, W. Decker, Deb, and Charles. Very much appreciate the love. And Kira, yes, I did follow everything on the email you sent me. All right. 5 seconds. Good night, Filth. Here we go with the second half of Spaced Out Radio tonight. Good to have you with us. My name is Dave Scott. Very much appreciate earning your listening ears. Reminder to all of you that if you've missed most of this show or others, check out our free archives by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the Newswire, check out our swag. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on TikTok at Spaced Out Radio. For the final time tonight, our guest is Beth Noyes. She is a personal experiencer of alien contact, and that's what we've been talking about all night long. Beth, thank you so much for sharing your story with us.
Thank you for letting me.
Let us get to some audience questions here. MM3 is asking, do you think alien greys are just humans from the future?
I mean, they could be some of them. That's a really good question. They could be. I don't think these guys are. They're definitely I think they're from the future, whatever the future is. Like, I've heard that where they say that they're humanity that devolved and they lost their ability to reproduce is what I've heard also. Coming back and wanting our DNA so that they can reproduce more. I've heard that. These beings that I saw, I think, have been here since our beginning. So whether they're from the future, helping us, coming back, possibly. But I think there's a lot of grays. And I think that that's like I'm under the opinion that that's just kind of a avatar suit. There may be some sentient grays, but some of them are biological robots, I think. Some of them are, born in pods type thing.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, it definitely could be.
Makes sense. Okay, let's go on to Neil here. Did the aliens physically touch you, Beth, or was it a telepathic experience?
I was not touched at all. Not even that I recall at all. It was telepathic, yes. And the only time it came close is when they floated that cloth like a foot or two above my body. So, but there was no physical touching.
So at any point, did it feel like they put any spell on you or anything like that?
I don't think it was a spell, but I definitely think that they had an intentional energy that they sent out to me, that they intentionally wanted me to feel calm, us to feel calm. If you call that a spell, yeah, maybe a frequency or an energy that they emitted to keep us calm.
Let's go to Australia with Angie here. So Plight asking, what color was the light, white or bright blue?
The light that came down from the ship, I'm thinking, that came in originally, it was, that light was a whitish blue. And then inside the craft, the big one, it was completely white.
On the craft, when you saw the light, what was it like then? Was it dim in certain areas and brighter in others? Because I
The big
remember
one?
when I got taken, I remember looking to my right and it was very dark. But when I looked to my left, that's where all the light and all the action was.
So on the big ship, there where we landed, it was dark. So we came in, it was dark, and then and it was a dark hallway or whatever pathway. And then the room, when it opened up, it was entirely white. The door closed again. And then when they opened the window, it wasn't super white down there. It was more of a natural light in the middle with the waterfall and the plants and the workers down there. It was more like light that we see here.
But for people who've never seen that light, it's not like a light bulb being screwed into a ceiling socket. It's not like
No.
that whatsoever. The light just seems to emanate, doesn't it?
It's from everywhere, and you can't find the source. There is no source of the light, and I couldn't understand it. Like I couldn't see the light coming from the walls or coming from the ceiling. It just was, and it was very bright. And I don't understand how that worked, but everything was the same color brightness or same brightness, and nothing was brighter than anything else, and there was no shadows, and it was white, white, white.
So weird, isn't it? So weird. Okay, let's continue on. Let's go to Ian in the UK. How long did you feel the experience lasted?
Awesome question. So it felt like it lasted 2 hours, but when I was back in bed or woke up, it was only 2:05. So it was 5 minutes here. Felt like it was 2-3 hours up there easily. So however that works.
Do you think you went back in time?
I don't know if it's like a time bubble or how they do it, or if they just pull you out of your time and it's completely different. What's time? I don't get it, but it's like they pull you out and they're able to put you back in. And why 5 minutes? I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I don't know. Maybe it was 5 minutes from when they actually took me up to the ship, and then it was, you know what I mean? But yeah, 5 minutes on Earth. That's all it was.
My goodness. My goodness. That is very, very trippy. Very trippy. Okay, let's continue on here. Let's go to Trouser. Was there any symbolism or patches on their wardrobes?
Good question. And no, I saw no patches. I saw nothing. I've been thinking about that because that is a really good question. But no, I didn't see any. It was just the first guys just had a goldish color pantsuit with no zippers, no buttons, and the other one was a silvery and no emblems. No, I saw no symbols on the wall, nothing.
See, I never saw that either when I was taken. So that actually makes good sense to me. Okay, let us continue on here. Let us go to Tony in the UK. Is it possible that the ones who take people will reveal themselves to humanity because of the collective consciousness of the masses believing they are real?
I think that yes, once we accept that they're real, that they'll show. I don't think that they're just going to pop up, my opinion. I don't know. I think it would be I think it'd be cool if they just showed up, but who take people. I think they will. I mean, eventually, yeah. It just depends. I think the ones that take people that aren't good might not reveal themselves, but the benevolent ones or the neutral ones might, that want to work with us or have them working. I don't know.
Let's go back to Trouser. Was there any noticeable zippers? Anything?
Nope.
Yeah, and I agree with you on that one. Like when I had my encounter seeing the little grays, they were in the silverish black bodysuits that were like skin tight,
Yes.
and there was no markings on them
Nope.
whatsoever. You know, even when they turned around, there were no zipper marks or anything like that. It just, I don't know how the hell they got them on and off. You know,
I've heard that it's just gets layered on them, like it's like it's just like not like a spray, but it's not like they pull it over their head and get dressed like us. I think it just goes on them.
I agree with you on that.
Yeah.
I agree with you on that. You know, the only other time I saw something different was when I got taken one night, my worst experience that I ever had. The little gray was wearing what looked to be like a doctor's coat. And he was about 3.5 feet tall. And he was followed by this baby. And what I remember the baby was the diaper. And it was luminescent green with black and luminescent red veins, what I call veins, running through the diaper.
Oh my gosh. So I'm wondering if like the ETs that are working with humans might not have some of the zippers and the buttons but I think that the ETs that aren't working with humans here on Earth, like that aren't military type, I don't think they have the zippers or buttons. That's scary about the baby having a diaper like that.
Yeah, it was weird.
It's a hybrid, probably. Do you think the baby? Yeah.
Yes. Okay, let's continue with more questions because I got a bunch of them. And let's go to Tony in the UK again. Where do you think the Arcturians are from? Which star system?
Well, they didn't necessarily say they were Arcturians. They said you would call us Arcturians. So it's kind of could be a play on word, meaning they're benevolent. Once I understood what Arcturians were, but there is a star system, I believe, called Arcturus. I don't know. I'm not really good with all that star stuff, but I think there is an Arcturus area.
Yes. All right, let's continue on. Let's go to Izzy Stradlin Beth. Beth, did you have increased psychic abilities after your encounter?
I'd say it was about the same, but I really worked on it more afterwards. I wanted to try to get back up on the ship. I tried to astral project to get on. Here's an interesting story. Frank and I wanted to get back on the ship, so we were trying to do it astrally, and we set our intentions and our energy to go there. Got up to where we thought the ship was, and we got ejected out. We got in as far as the port and got shot out. Like we weren't allowed back on there again. So I don't know if they can see you or detect you in astral, but I don't think that, I think they all have protection against us because us in astral, I think that they have, yes, I worked on it more afterwards. And I don't know why they didn't let us back in afterwards. That was kind of a bummer.
Let's go to Silent Listen. Were you given a particular word to remember, and when you hear it, you will know what to do?
No, like a trigger, not that I know of. I did 3 years ago. Mary, if you know who Mary Rodwell was, she did a I wanted to see if there's, I had her do a regression on me just to see if there's anything else. But I didn't have any triggering words or a action word that I know of. I think it's more of a time and an energy level, frequency of the earth, frequency of people, the awareness of people will trigger when I should come out and talk about it.
Okay, let's continue on here. Let's go to Big Tex in Texas. Have the people in the medical field you work for or work with been accepting of your experience?
You know, you have to know who you can talk to, know your audience. So I've told a few of my friends, and yes, they mostly are. They're pretty open-minded. But again, I wouldn't tell somebody that I knew would laugh.
Have you noticed more experiences since, being the profession you're in, like with near-death experiences or out-of-body experiences since this happened to you?
You mean witnessing them?
Maybe not witnessing them, but having patients go through this.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And I feel like I can help patients through it. I've helped people as they've transitioned and passed over. I've seen people, it honestly looks like a portal is opening up as they're passing. I see white light. I see them looking at something and smiling and feeling relieved as they go. So I'm actually can see that transition as they leave to go on. So I can help them with that. I can also sense when people are getting attacked with dark, and I go in there and ask them if they want to pray together and help, and it just to kind of clear the room and protect them. And yeah, patients. There's a lot of open patients out there. Or people out there in general. You'd be surprised what you see in the medical field, in the hospital.
How has this changed, this experience? How has it changed your own spiritual path?
I definitely know absolutely without a doubt that we're absolutely not alone, that there's life after death. It's not the end. I also feel like I always have a team with me watching over me. I know I have help if I need it, if I just ask for it. You can't hide from anything. You think you're being sneaky, you're not, because everything you do is being monitored, not in a bad way, but there's it's really helped me spiritually grow to.
Excellent. All right, let's continue on with some audience questions. Let's go to Derek. When you were on the ship, did the aliens mention working with governments of the world at all?
They did not to me, but the only thing what they did say is that there are good ones and there are bad ones. Not all of us are good. So, but no, they didn't talk about that. I wish I would have known to even think to ask that, but they didn't mention it. No.
My guys didn't even talk. So at least you got some.
Not even telepathically? They didn't say anything?
The only thing they really said on one occasion, I have recall of eight times being taken. And on one of them, it was, oh crap, he's awake, he's awake, he's awake, get him back, get him back, get him back.
Do you think yours were with military, or do you think yours were working with the government?
Because I hit the one. And, it's like hitting silicon. That's what it feels like.
They're smooshy.
Very light silicon.
Good.
And he went flying back, and then I just went out.
Good for you.
All right, let's go to Trouser. How close to the garden area did you get? I'm intrigued by the plant life.
Well, I was behind a window or whatever that was, so I was like looking down. I'd say 3 stories down, It was about 3 stories down. The waterfall started where I was. I could see it. And then that went 3 stories down. And the courtyard was big. It was so pretty. And so I was above it and behind a window. I didn't get inside of it.
Okay, let's stick with Trouser. Is there any distinct smell that you could remember?
No, I was thinking about that, and I've heard that they smell bad, and but no, I couldn't smell anything. I didn't smell anything good or bad. Nothing, which is weird. How about you? Did you smell anything?
No smells.
Isn't that
No
weird?
smells, but it wouldn't surprise me. My nose is screwed anyways. So it wouldn't surprise me. Let's go to Tex. Why do we tend to believe that the ones that are working with humans are the good ones?
I think there's some working with humans that are not good ones. It just depends on the human too.
Very true. Major Lee is asking, do you think asking questions may enforce delusion?
You mean guide what you're asking
Kind of,
questions?
yes.
What?
Yes.
Yeah, I think that especially like under a QHHT, like regression, you gotta be careful with the way you ask questions on people. You definitely can influence their recall. Delusion.
Do you want it to happen again?
With these people, with the same being, sure, I'd go back. I as long as I could come back again. I wouldn't want to miss out on my family, but yeah, for sure. If they could do it in 5 minutes and I can go hang there, maybe get some regeneration, be kind of nice. I'd do it again.
I am still waiting for the day when a craft comes and lands in my backyard.
Yeah.
I'm waiting. The intention is out there.
Would you go?
Yes.
Yeah. As long as I could pick up my family. And I already told them, if I'm in a ship and I'm telling you to come, don't be afraid and just get with me. If I said, come on up.
All right. Final question from our audience tonight as we got under 2 minutes. Let's go to MM3. Did your alien abduction experience feel or seem similar to a psychedelic experience?
I've never had a psychedelic experience, but it did feel like it kind of felt at times like a very intense lucid dream. I guess that's the best I could say. I haven't had a psychedelic.
All right, maybe we can sneak one more in. This will be the final one from Anna. Did you see anyone eating any type of food?
No. And I don't know how they go to the bathroom either. So I didn't see it. They have little mouths. I don't know what they eat, but no food was eaten that I saw.
1 minute to go here. How important is it for you to be a voice for other experiencers to come out and share their encounters?
I think that's one of the reasons I'm coming forward, so everybody will just feel comfortable, and it's very important. I think other people should come forward and share what they recall, and they're good or bad. Very important.
Do you think it'll help the overall cause?
I hope so. Yeah, I think so. I think it's important what you're doing and what we're doing. We're the disclosure. It's not the government.
I would agree with you there. Beth Noyes, I want to say thank you for not only being a fan of Spaced Out Radios, but also an experiencer who was willing to share your very personal encounter and story with extraterrestrial contact. It is phenomenal, and I wish you the best, and I hope your contact for your sake continues. Thank you for being on the show.
Thank you very much.
Coming up next, Steve Stockton brings us the UFO, or make that the Cryptid Report. No, it's Among the Missing. Then it's Robin McRae with the Cryptid Report. I'm going to change these scripts. Who messed them up?
Thank you very much.
You are very welcome. Very welcome. And Robin McRae, you're sitting in the hot seat there. I see you. And I'll give Robin a wave. Beth, I'm going to send you back.
Perfect. I'll watch the rest from here, from the sidelines.
Much love, my friend.
You too. Thank you very much. Pop me out of here. Beam me.
Take care. There she goes. Little Beth Noyes right there. Boot her from the studio. We don't need her anymore. No, I'm teasing. I'm totally teasing. Joe, how are you? I'll be right back, everyone. Just so you all know, Marquise Williams will be hosting for me on Friday night. Excuse me. Because I'm going to be out in the forest looking for Sasquatch, ghosts, and aliens. Yeah. Finally. We're here. I love it. I do. I'm pumped up about it. Very pumped up. Hopefully I can walk. That's okay. My feet have been killing me lately. Yeah. Vicks inhaler, nothing more. Elfie Ting, welcome to SOR chat. Spam pants. Let's get that on. Spam pants. Right on. Thank you to our super chatters tonight. Izzy, Deb ×2, Louis ×3, Tex, Carl, MM3, Jocelyn, Surf Jer, Catherine, Typical Skeptic, W. Decker, and Charles. Don't forget you can do your shopping at spacedoutradio.com. Here we go.
Would you like to connect with us? Head to spacedoutradio.com for all your latest show info. Now, back to Dave Scott and SOR.
Third and final hour of Spaced Out Radio is now underway. Good to have you with us. My name is Dave Scott. Very much appreciate earning your listening ears wherever you are on this beautiful planet we call Earth. Hello to everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on Odyssey Radio, TalkStream Live, and KPNL. All of our archives are free. Join us at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. I don't like this one. Nope, don't like it. Bahuv Rihi. Bahuv Rihi is your password. Use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the news wire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on TikTok at Spaced Out Radio. Hey, let's head over to Among the Missing, where Steve Stockton has another great story to kick off hour number 3.
Hello, friends. Welcome to Among the Missing YouTube channel on Spaced Out Radio. I'm Steve Stockton, and I'm about to take you on an unbelievable journey of people just like you. Their stories and encounters will haunt us on Among the Missing. Now, the Appalachian Trail, affectionately known as the AT, stretches over 2,200 miles and traverses 14 states in the easternmost United States. From Springer Mountain in Georgia to Mount Katahdin in Maine, many consider hiking this iconic trail the ultimate test of endurance and perseverance. The longest hiking-only footpath in the world, an estimated 2 to 3 million people trek the AT yearly to experience nature's astonishing beauty and challenge themselves physically and mentally. The AT offers something for everyone, literally, from the rugged wilderness to scenic overlooks to quaint surrounding towns and villages. Although, despite its fame as a scenic hiking trail, the AT's remote corners hold some dark and eerie secrets. There have been violent assaults and approximately a dozen murders since the first reported murder in 1974. According to Phoebe Smith, an award-winning travel writer who frequently camps alone, the most significant risks to hikers are weather-related or the lack of appropriate gear. However, violent crime on hiking trails like the Appalachian Trail does occur. In this video, we'll explore some chilling incidents on the Appalachian Trail and provide valuable advice on maintaining safety when exploring nature. In 1974, Joel Polson and Margaret McFadden started their AT hike at the southern terminus, Springer Mountain, Georgia. After covering 6 miles that day, the pair stopped to rest at Low Gap Shelter, where they encountered Ralph Howard Fox. After conversing for a few minutes, Margaret went to wash up in the stream, followed by Joel. The pair returned to the shelter, started a fire, and invited Fox to join them for dinner, but he declined. Then, without warning, Fox shot and killed Joel the following day, took his belongings, and kidnapped Margaret. After a few days, Fox let her go, and she notified authorities. Margaret later picked Fox out of a police lineup, and he was ultimately indicted for Joel's murder in October of 1975. Fox pleaded guilty and was sentenced to life in Georgia State Prison. This was the first known murder to occur on the Appalachian Trail. Then, in 1975, 22-year-old thru hiker Janice Balza from Madison, Wisconsin, stayed at the Vanderventer shelter on the AT in Butler, Tennessee. 51-year-old Paul Bigley, who had a history of mental illness, attacked and killed her with a hatchet as she sat near his campfire, allegedly for her backpack. Bigley was found guilty of murder and sentenced to life in prison. Some hikers believe Janice's ghost still haunts the shelter. There have been sightings and also reports of growling and stomping noises in the area. Then, in 1981, Maine social workers Robert Mountford Jr. and Laura Susan Ramsey, each 27 years old, were hiking the AT to raise money for troubled teens. They stayed at the Wapiti shelter in Giles, Virginia. Robert was shot in the head with a .22 caliber pistol, and Laura was bludgeoned with a piece of iron and stabbed continually with a knife and a long nail. Their bodies were placed in their sleeping bags and then buried. Randall Lee Smith would later be charged with their murders and was released from prison after serving 15 years for good behavior. He later tried to commit murder again in the exact location. A book entitled Murder on the Appalachian Trail recounts the true story of Robert and Laura's deaths. Smith's motive remains unknown. In 1988, Stephen Roy Carr killed 28-year-old Rebecca White and wounded her partner, 31-year-old Claudia Brenner, in Michaud State Forest, Pennsylvania. Carr first met Rebecca in a public bathroom and saw the couple again later that day. Carr watched the couple for a while that night before shooting at them, killing Rebecca and injuring Claudia. Carr was caught and sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole.
And thank you to Steve Stockton from Among the Missing for another weird, strange story. We do, Steve, here every third hour here to kick off hour number 3 of Spaced Out Radio. And we love it when Steve freaks us out a little bit. If you want more, head on over to his YouTube channel, youtube.com/Among the Missing for more stories just like that. Yeah, from Among the Missing to Among the Sasquatch, Robin McRae filling in for Super Duke from World Bigfoot Radio on the Cryptid Report. Super Duke, the Cryptid Report with Super Duke. Robin McRae, we love it when you are here. How you doing, my friend?
I'm doing great, sweetie. Good to be here. I am actually up in, went out of state for the weekend with about 6 other friends, and we are doing some research this weekend. So we will, or not this weekend, but for the next day or so. So we will see, but it's storming really, really bad here. So we'll see.
So what kind of research are you doing down there? Well, Robin froze on us already. That's not very good. That's not very good. If she's already frozen on us. We'll see if we can get her back here momentarily. You know, speaking of expeditions, this weekend is going to be very, very busy for me because I got my buddy Merle. You know Merle from Ghost of the Great White North. He'll be on the show tomorrow night. Yeah, he's traveling up here with little Timmy Senor and Samantha Mowat and a couple of camera people where we're going to be doing some live video. Well, not live to tape of an area where we had a Sasquatch encounter back in 2018. Yeah. So Robin isn't the only one who is having some fun this weekend. Robin, sorry about your freezing up there for a second, but
yeah, we've got really bad storms here. Like, it's been crazy. So I apologize to everybody if it goes out.
Not a problem, my dear. Not a problem. So, what are you looking for in North Carolina?
We are actually there's a whole team of us this week. Well, actually through the weekend. Well, we won't be back till after the weekend. And we're just trying to get some structures, footprints, that kind of thing. Been some sightings here, and I have a friend that lives here, and so I was invited to their place to stay. So we're just kind of having a good time and everybody hanging out. I don't do it a lot in South Carolina because the snakes are so bad, and they've got them here too, but it's not nearly as bad. So there was a group of us that wanted to go hang out, and off we went.
Excellent. Excellent. Talk about structures for a minute, if you don't mind, because
Sure.
for a lot of us, even myself, I've never seen a structure. Out of all the time I've spent in the forest, never seen any type of structure whatsoever. And I'm curious to understand, what are these structures about?
Well, they're a form of communication. I mean, they mean a lot of things, but basically, it's communication between them and the other members of the clan. And, my experiences I've had with it has been there's like a basis that they all know, and then each clan will go and kind of tweak it for themselves so that only their people know. So, yeah, and, if you go into underneath them, especially the arches, put your hand in there, and a lot of times you can pick up an energy flux in there. And we literally had years ago, a friend of mine has this property, and I went out there and I had been helping him interact with them there. And there was a structure, and it was just a small arch. And I was explaining it to him, and he said, "Well, can I film you while we do it?" And I said, "Absolutely." So he's filming me while I'm explaining it, and we literally saw something jump out of this portal. It was crazy.
When you say structures,
Hmm.
explain what they look like.
Well, if you see the arches, they always lock the end of it. So whether it's an arch or something in a tree, if it looks like deadfall, it's not from them. Not everything is Sasquatch, but they lock it. And when it comes to these arches, a lot of times they'll put a branch over the top of it, take the tip of the tree and wind it, multiple things to anchor that down. Like I've had them take the end of the tree and just wrap it around another tree to hold it down. I have photos of some where it wasn't even a tree. They had taken logs and put it on top of it so that the logs would hold it down. I mean, they're just really the thought process behind them is huge. But also on your other structures, they lock them. And by locking, I mean they will take whatever branches or whatever they're using or whatever marking they're using, and they will fix it with that and another one so that it literally is locked in place. It's not something that's going to fall down easy. So your best way to look for them and find out whether or not that is something that a Sasquatch has done is look for the end of it on the arches to find out if it's anchored and the locking of the other one.
What does it mean when you see, and I've seen the photos of them, of these lean-to type of structures, that it would look like a hunter would build to hunt deer or wild boar or something along those lines, where it looks like a lean-to built against a tree?
Yeah, the ones that I work with, to begin with, everybody gets excited. Not everybody, but a lot of people do. And they're like, oh, okay, that's where they live. That is not where they live. These are temporary shelters that they can use for a variety of reasons. They can go in them as far as, for a temporary shelter while they're out hunting. Like if the hunters have left the clan to bring food back, they can hide in there. They watch people. They can hide in there, watch prey. There's also, I had one that was on my property that I would watch when I went out with them at night. They would go in there and they would completely vanish. So at some point in time, there's a portal in there. But they're just a temporary shelter. That's all they are. Those are not, I've been to where they actually live at. And it's massive and it's completely just off the charts. Like nobody can even, grasp the size of it. Like where they would stay at was like a size of 2.5 car garage. It was built 4 feet off the ground, and it had branches that were woven on top that covered the entire thing. I mean, it was just incredible. So yeah, you see a lot of these little structures, and they do make them. And I had one group that told me where they would put the sticks up against the tree. That meant how many of them went by, but that was different than the TPs. But they do use them. And I've seen them make the little tiny ones to put the kids in while they're out doing things. They'll literally put the kids in there so the kids, are blind they're not, it's like a blind for them so that nobody will see them.
Okay. What about when we see areas, Robin, where giant trees have been turned upside down and now
That's
the
a
roots
territorial
are
marker. Yeah,
okay.
that's for territories. That's a territorial marker that's showing the strength that they have and saying, okay, this is where my property starts. You're being forewarned. This is how strong I am because this is what I can do. But that's a territorial marker.
Okay, so for people who may not understand, it's like taking a deadfall tree, ripping it out of the ground, and then turning it upside down,
Hmm.
and then how can we put it?
The
Shoving the
root,
tree, the top end of the tree back into the ground.
yeah, yeah. It's incredible, and the size of these are massive. You're talking about roots that are just enormous. There's just no physical way that one of our type of people could do it. Absolutely not.
Hmm.
And a lot of your arches, those are a directional tool as well. I mean, they do multiple things, but one of the ways too is also as a directional.
Hmm. Is that territorial marking with the tree? Does that have to do with, horny Bigfoot men who are trying to show off for the ladies, or is that something that is
I don't.
much like a bear where, they mark their territory and they're telling all the other, alpha bears out there to stay
Yeah,
away?
yeah. I'm not going to rule out because I've often wondered about that. But it's primarily what my groups tell me is that it's a territorial marker. And the bigger the tree, the stronger the Sasquatches that did it, and the bigger they are.
Okay. How often does this happen?
Actually, a lot more than people think. Like you get back in the woods and you get some of these off-grid places, and you would be amazed how many you find. And I noticed too in the western states, they seem to be more prominent, like up in Alaska. I mean, they are pretty. It's global. It is. I think some areas, you notice a little bit more bigger ones than some others, but I think that has to do to the individuals that are living there.
Okay. Is it usually more aggressive Sasquatch that leave those territorial markers, whether it's for fellow Sasquatch or animals or humans?
I think in those areas, I'm not going to say they're mean, but I do think that they are more reclusive than other ones per se. Like my groups, I've got 4 groups at my house right now. Nobody's ever overturned a tree, and they're fine, and they interact, readily, and there's no issues. But I do notice when you get to these outside areas in these western states where it's more wooded and forest and it's more wilderness, and you tend to see it more.
So when we're in the forest as regular people, what should we be looking for in order to make sure that we have uh, or that we are in a safe area?
Well, it's primarily for the other Sasquatch. However, some of them will do that because they don't want you past that if their family groups are there. And that's where, and we've talked about this before, if you go into an area and you see that, you automatically know that something it's marking its territory. That's what it's doing. And if you feel uneasy in that area, you need to leave. These are in a type of people, not our type, but a type of people. And they all have different personalities, just like we do. Some are more stringent about what they're going to let come into their territory. While those markers are primarily for the other Sasquatch, it's not impossible that they would not want any of our people there either. So when you go in there, if you feel that offhanded vibe that maybe things aren't just as right as they should be, then that's your cue, and it's not your day to be there. Doesn't mean you can't come back later. It just means that's not the day.
Question for you. Where do Sasquatch go when there's a lot of forest fire smoke in the air?
They generally, I mean, I've seen a lot of them that will just go underground and try to get away from it. If they can get down the mountain, they'll head to the water sources. And, I mean, it's safer with the water. They'll follow those to try to get down and out. But they will go into cave systems. If they can get in there so that they're out of that smoke, they will definitely go down in there.
So they're getting out of the territory.
Yeah, they will. They'll go down in those cave systems, or if you've got some of the local tribes there that have the cave systems where, the smoke isn't so bad, they'll try to ride it out. But yeah, they try to come back. I mean, it depends on how bad the burn is in the woods and, their area. But they want to get off that mountain. They are instinctive where they know to go to the water. And if they can get into a system that will take them far enough down those caves to avoid the smoke, they absolutely will.
Okay. So do you believe then that when there is it just forest fire smoke? Let me rephrase that. Is it just forest fire smoke, or is it for a fire that is burning?
Both. And, I do the mind speak, which we've talked about before. And I've been contacted multiple times, as well as other people that I work with that do mind speak, from some that have actually gone into those cave systems trying to get away from the fire, and they get blocked in, which is incredibly sad. But generally, they're going to go for the nearest water source, and they're going to try to get off that mountain. They're going to do whatever they have to get out of the way. They will go back after it's gone, to see if there's anything left for them to rebuild on, but they're going to get out of there, and they're smart enough to know to go to the nearest water source because they're safer there.
Whether that's a marsh or a river or a creek.
Right. Yep, and they'll follow right down the mountain or the areas. But they still, even with the fires, there's a lot of them that will go down in those tunnels. If they can get back, if the tunnels are deep enough and go back far enough, then they're safer in there. If you've got one of these little tiny caves, that's not going to do much good because it's still going to get to you. So it's going to depend on that cave system. Some will go miles. And a lot of them that have that long passageway in there, they come out somewhere else. And so they just simply can get out of there that way.
When you say come out somewhere else, is that on this timeline or a different timeline?
It could be both. If they're doing it on our physical plane, then they go through that tunnel and they can go however long it is and come out on the other side of the mountain and they're home free. We also have to be realistic and say these are a being that can create portals, open them at will, and they can get in and out that way. But then, like we've talked about on the show before, every clan is ran a little bit different. Like there's the base laws, but each clan runs it differently. And some of them will use that woo and open the portals, where others, a different clan, that clan may forbid a lot of those usages. They all have the abilities. It's whether or not in that clan that, that's okay for them to use. But they absolutely will.
Well, when we come back in the next half hour, Robin, I want to get to some stories that you have had lately or that you have heard from, because we always like on the Cryptid Report to have those firsthand encounters of stories of people who are coming in contact with the creatures that we call Sasquatch or any sort of cryptid whatsoever. So you sit tight, because we got another half hour here on the Cryptid Report. Filling in for Super Duke from World Bigfoot Radio is the legendary Robin McCrae, who's sitting in tight in North Carolina, looking for Sasquatch down south. We'll be back with the final half hour of Spaced Out Radio right after this. Awesome stuff.
I'm trying to think of some good stories that, I can tell you guys about it.
Well, just
Like I
think of
had one
one.
else.
You
Huh?
got you got a couple minutes.
Yeah, I know. It's like, what do you tell everybody? I mean, there's so many things that go on. All the craziness.
I know. I know.
So much fun, but so many craziness.
I hear you. I hear you. You doing well though?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. I've been working a lot, working with a lot of people, and it's like just going 90 miles an hour. And I have a friend in North Carolina that offered me to come to her house, and I'm like, okay, fine. And then it just kind of turned into this thing. So there's like 6 of us all having a good time, which was good. I needed the break, so I'm real happy about that. But we'll see. We're not out looking for any. I mean, we're just going out and looking to see what we can find. I mean, we're not out to get like that great photo or anything like that. We're just looking for structures and footprints, and hopefully we'll see one of them too. But every time I come in North Carolina, they are loud and proud. Like I come through here and I can feel them, and they're talking 90 miles an hour. And it's just driving on some of these roads. It's absolutely crazy. And you can feel them, like you can physically feel them trying to talk in your head, and you feel pressure all over your body from them. I mean, I used to think it was just from the mountains, but even when I'm away from the mountains, they still do it. And then it'll let up and they'll talk for a minute and then it'll get real intense
Mm-hmm. That is weird.
again. It is. I don't know what it is, but it's been crazy. Every time I go anywhere lately, and there's always Sasquatch there. I can't get back home. Every time I go to come home, I get flights delayed, car trouble, whatever it is. I mean, it's insanity. Every time I go to Nebraska, the put the whammy on that every single time. They'll sit there and say they want me to stay, and I'm like, I can't stay. I got to go home. I never get home anything under a week delay. Everything from the plane stalled, my airplane tickets disappear. I mean, all these crazy facts. Everybody else is perfectly fine. Nobody else has a problem. It's only me.
Well, if you can tell me where I put my passport, I'd greatly
Yeah, you're going
appreciate.
to need that, big guy.
Yeah, well, it seems like after my trip to Las Vegas that I cannot find my passport, and I'm running out
Uh-oh.
of places to look.
Do you have any kind of a bag, like a leather bag or anything?
No, I've checked all my bags.
I wonder if you left it at the airline. Call the
No,
airline.
because I needed it to. I needed it. I know I had it when I picked up my vehicle.
Huh. That's crazy. And you looked all through the car?
Looked through my vehicle, looked through my suitcases, my carry-on bags, everything.
That's crazy.
Yeah, don't know where it went.
I know when I went to Russia for that conference in Siberia, of course I had to have a passport for it. And there, it didn't matter if you had a driver's license. Everything is about the passport. Even the ones that live there, everybody has to have a passport. And you can get stopped anytime, day or night, and have to be proven that you're supposed to be there and you have a passport. It's crazy. So I guess we're going to go some falls tomorrow, is last I knew. She had a couple sightings there, so we're going to try that. But we will see. I don't know where I'm at because I'm not familiar real well with North Carolina. I mean, it's been fun. Like I said, I needed the break. I work with a lot of people, which I absolutely love. And right now, the Sasquatch are really, really active. They're really hyped up. I don't know why. I'm very curious about a lot of things and keeping a close eye, like literally an eye at all times on. And so everybody's been acting so wonky. It's like, forget about sleep at night because they're all knocking on the windows and peeking in the windows and running around the yard. And I got up to let the dog out one morning about 6 o'clock, and one jumped over the fence and jumped into the bushes right out of my backyard. I was like,
Wow.
alrighty then.
All right, we got about 30 seconds here. Big thank you to Typical Skeptic, Louis times 3, W. Decker, Deb times 2, Charles, Mama Catherine, Surf Jared, Jocelyn, MM3, Human Carl, Tex, and Izzy Stradlin for the great super chats. Very much appreciate the love and support. And you can do your shopping at spacedoutradio.com. Sure I didn't miss anybody. And here we go. Final half hour of Spaced Out Radio is now underway. Good to have you with us. My name is Dave Scott. Very much appreciate earning your listening ears. I want to remind you that if you missed portions of this show or others, check out our free archives by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the Newswire, check out our swag, follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on TikTok at Spaced Out Radio. We continue on tonight with Robin McCrae and the Cryptid Report, talking all things monstrous in the forest. And Robin, thank you so much for being here with us from North Carolina tonight, where you're on your own investigation.
I am. Like you said, I have a really good friend down here, and she invited me down, and we ended up, there's 6 of us now. And, we're just having fun. We're just going to go out in the woods, see what we can find. We're trying to find some stick structures or some footprints or some samples of any kind, but we'll see. Just relaxing, enjoying nature, enjoying the woods, seeing if we can get contact with them, and just kind of hanging out for the week. We just needed the break. I think all of us did. So we're just going to see what happens. There's so many in North Carolina. People, I come to North Carolina on and off. And every time I do, it's just amazing the contact here. I get contact pretty much anywhere I go, but I get down here and it's like they're all over me at all times. And it's not just me. Like I said, I have a lot of friends in North Carolina, and it's the same thing with everybody. And so, it's just always nice. In fact, John Stamey is working with Cherokees to do another conference there. We did one there about 3 or 4 years ago, right before COVID hit, and it was phenomenal. So we're looking forward to doing that. I haven't been back to Cherokee since then, but he did a conference in North Carolina. We were here on the 17th, and we had so much fun. It was so great to see everybody. And somebody from the Cherokee Nations had asked if we would bring the conference back again. So that's in the works. So that's going to be really good. It's really cool. I hear there's a museum somewhere in North Carolina, but I'm not familiar enough with the state. Like, I have to ride with somebody when I come and go because I'm not here enough to do it. But yeah, it's just a lot going on with them. And I think, across the board, people that I've had contact with, there's something going on. Absolutely something going on. I wish I had more information to tell, but I don't. I'm working on it. Everything is very highly charged right now. People that have abilities, their abilities are heightened. People that don't have abilities are getting them. People that don't normally have contact are like, oh, there's one in my backyard. So a lot of big swings and positive things, and they seem to be happy about it. Like, they're not picking up negativity. So it really looks like the Sasquatch are excited about something. What that may be, we only can guess. But they are definitely really connecting with people on a much higher level, which is, it's a good thing. But then you always have to wonder, like, okay, what are they up to now? They're such pranksters. Like, their pranks are just ridiculous. Like, going up on a belly crawl and knocking someone's legs out of it just to watch them fall on the ground, and then you hear laughter. Like, they play pranks. They think it's funny. When Igor Borstov is in town, they play pranks on him like nobody's business. They will do anything they can to get his attention and to drive him crazy. he was at the house one time, and I think I talked about it here, where one went right up behind him and was imitating every move he made. It was at night, and he had no clue it was behind him. And whatever Igor would do, this one would do it and respond. It would do the same thing. And there were two other researchers at the time. They were at my house, and they were up against the building or the house in the shadows watching this go on. And they didn't know how to get hold of Igor because Igor was messing with his camera, which is what Igor does. And he did not realize that this being was right behind him. And Igor would bend down to look at the camera, and this thing would bend down and imitate Igor. And so these two people that were with them were just cracking up because they're like, how in the world are we supposed to let him know? Like, is it going to be violent with Igor? What's it going to do? And it was fine. It didn't do anything to him. It just went behind him and imitated every movement he made. I mean, it was hysterical. But they really, my neighbors are noticing more activity, definitely more activity at my house. In fact, I had a friend over yesterday, I believe it was, and we were outside talking, and she looked over in the bushes and she said, "Are they around here right now?" And I said, "Yeah, they're everywhere right now. Like, they are watching tight. I don't know what's going to get ready to bust open, but they are really watching everything." And she said, "I swear I just saw a brown face in your bush." And I'm like, "Yeah, and if there's one, there's definitely more than one." I went outside to let the dog out at 5:30 in the morning the other morning, and one was in the backyard. Excuse me. And it was all black, but it had a white stripe of hair down it. And it went right over the fence and into the bushes.
You okay there?
Last weekend.
Just give me the signal and I will mute you when you have to cough. We'll get her back. We'll get you back.
Okay. All right, I think I'm good.
Perfect.
Sorry. I went to Florida last weekend and did some work there. And I came back with this cold. Mute it, Dave. Hang on.
Yeah. I understand that feeling. Sometime when you get that little scratchiness in your throat that won't go away. I had it last night. I will say this. I had it last night. And it sucks. It really sucks. But that's the beauty of live radio, is sometimes we are caught off guard by old man coughing attack.
You know, I was fine, and I got down there. Everything was going well. And I had been there for like 2 or 3, I think 3 days. And I woke up in the morning, and I have been sick and laid out ever since. I almost didn't make it. You know, I got here yesterday, and was it yesterday? Day before. And I was really surprised. Like, I wasn't going to try to come, but I promised her I would, so I did. But yeah, it's just been crazy. It's been really crazy. And the thing is they're not even being shy at this point. You know, I mean, as elusive as they are not nearly as backed off and standoffish as they are. I had a friend of mine get hold of me, and she mind speaks with them as well. And I was at the store, and she got hold of me, and she's like, "So are they out in your front yard right now?" And I said, "Well, I don't know. I'm not at home, but they normally are." "Why?" And she said, "They are so excited. Like, what are you doing? Because they're all excited about you." And I'm like, I have no clue. Like, nobody's telling me a thing other than really excited. You know, they're more emotional than normal. You can feel, I'm an empath, so you can feel their energy, and you can feel what their emotions are, and they're off the charts. And it's like that everywhere. Like, literally everywhere. It was like that in Florida. It's like that up here. I mean, it's crazy. You know, I know she's planning on, we're going to go to some waterfalls tomorrow, so that'll be fun. See what we can find. But I go to North Carolina, and they just go nuts, and I don't know what the deal is. They've not asked me to do anything, but it's like we did one conference here a few years ago at some lodge that they have. And I'm sitting there and they're like running up and down the hill outside the lodge. But right now, everything is really high powered. And for the people out there that have abilities, they're heightened right now. Like they are really heightened. And the energy strength that you get right now is off the charts. Like it's just crazy.
How does that energy strength come about?
For me, it's just a natural thing. And it's not energy like a physical energy, like you're going to go out and lift up a car or something. It's the energy that your body radiates and the vibration your body radiates for whatever reason. Mine is very heavily charged. It always has been since I was a toddler. And they like it. And I think that has a lot to do with why they're always following me around. You know, we'll see if they're going to, I brought the night vision. I was going to go out tonight and see if I could find anything, but weather here is not tolerating it. So I guess I'll wait and try tomorrow night. You know, maybe lay low during the day and try at nighttime. I don't do a lot of night ones because, you know, they don't need to be chased. And they're just as active in the daytime. But a very good friend of mine gave me a thermal cam. So I, you know, have to go and test that out. I did it in my front yard. And I got one that I'm very close to. He was in the bushes. And the top of the bushes was 8 foot, and his head was at least 2 to 3 feet above that. And I got him on thermal. And then, much to my surprise, as I'm, you know, like panning the front yard with the thermal, I picked up a spirit on it that actually showed up. So it was really crazy. Like, I'm surprised what that thermal camera gets. But you can't always get them on thermal. When I was in Michigan filming a documentary, we had thermal cameras there. And they worked on some of them, and other ones they didn't. I was like 10 foot from one. Muted a minute.
And Robin is having a little bit of a coughing fit, so we'll bring her right back here. How you doing?
I'm back. So we were there, and there was one that was sitting 10 feet. He was sitting on the ground. He was huge. And he was sitting on the ground, and I was like 10 foot from him. Like, I could see him blinking his eyelashes, and I could see him breathing. I mean, he was right there. And the girl came over to put the thermal cam on him, and it never showed. We never got him on thermal. And yet I watched him. Like, I've been around these things since I was a kid. I know what they look like. And it just sat there looking at me. You know, I'm watching his chest breathe in and out, his eyes flutter. I mean, it was that close to him. And it wouldn't show it. So I finally asked him, I said, you know, why is that? Because we got other ones on the thermal camera that night. And it comes down, you know, they're a high vibration, high energy being. And if they raise that vibration and energy high enough, it blocks it. And the thermal's not going to get it. So if you get them and they're just walking around and they're not trying to do anything, then you can get them. But if they try to put, it's almost like a shield. They try to put that up and the thermal won't work.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
I got one of the younger kids up in the tree a couple weeks ago. And you could see him going up in the tree. And I'm like, there is nothing big enough out in the woods to be on that tree except that. You know, the movement was right. The size was right. But again, they are really, they're tanked up right now. I don't know what's going on, but they're having fun. But again, it seems to be tied at the same time with everybody's abilities on a surge. You know, I mean, when you have abilities, it's a progression to begin with. But right now, everybody I've talked to that I know that has them, they're all heightened. So I don't know what's going out in the atmosphere that's maybe changing things, or if the energy on the planet has changed, but it has absolutely changed something. And I think all the cryptids are picking it up, because even the dogmen have been more active. Not quite as active as the Sasquatch, but the dogmen have picked up pace too. And not in a bad way. They're not bothering anybody. They're just more active.
Very strange. Very strange.
I know. And I can't figure out what's going on. Like, I thought it was because of Solstice. But they were doing it before Solstice. And they're doing it after Solstice. So obviously it wasn't just that.
Hmm. Do you think then that whatever this is out there, do you think that there is a connection that is communicating with all of them about their
Hmm.
aggression, their everything?
Yeah, I think so. I think, it seems to be a generalized thing, and I'm not noticing an uptake in aggression. It's actually quite the opposite. Like they're friendlier than normal, and they seem happy. I don't know what they're happy about, but they all seem happy. So, there's got to be something going around because the dogman have picked it up, which if the dogman and the Sasquatch have picked it up, everything else is going to as well. I don't know. We've had a lot of solar flares. If that has anything to do with it, they tell me no. Whether or not that's true, I don't know. But there are a lot more sightings, a lot more of them people watching. We watch them, but they're also watching us. They seem to be much more excited about that, like more so than normal. I went out to take the Great Pyrenees out the other night to use the restroom, and she went straight to the tree that they hang out in, and her whole body was wagging back and forth, her tail, her whole body. She loves them, and they love her, and they're just sitting there making noises at her from the tree, and they've never ever hurt my animals, never. They've never hurt my mini pigs, they've never hurt my cats, they've never hurt the dogs, they haven't hurt my tortoise, nothing. Like I have a big tortoise, and I just don't have that problem. I know there are people that do. And I have seen them go after dogs that were running wild, but in their defense, they were chasing their children. If you've got a pack of wild dogs that are chasing your kids, you're going to do something about it too. But as far as my domestic animals, I just don't have that issue. I know there are people that do, but again, they're all individuals.
We got about 4.5 minutes to go here before we have to call it the show tonight. Robin McRae filling in for Super Duke on World Bigfoot Radio's Cryptid Report here on Spaced Out Radio. Robin, give us a quick story of what it's like to encounter one of these creatures face to face.
Do I think like with myself, because I was around them, even I never knew when they weren't around. So like when I encounter them, I'm amazed. I don't get that terrified thing. Like if I ran into a bad one and it gave me the wall of fear or whatever, I probably would. But for the most part, I don't. It's like every time I see them, it's like the first time. Like I don't care if I see them 100 times in a day, which I don't. But even if I did, every time you see them, you're mesmerized. Absolutely mesmerized. And then have the people that when they do see them, it's terrifying for them because they are now looking at something that we've been taught for years never existed. And so it shatters that image of it. But for myself, because I've always been around them, it's fantastic. Like I don't run, I don't panic or freak out. I get more entranced every single time. And then I get this feeling of peace. I think they have such a connection with Earth and a collective consciousness and, the trees and nature and all of it. And so when I see them or whatever, I just feel an overwhelming sense of peace. Like it feeds my soul because they're always been so good. The bad ones I've encountered, even when I got bluff charged in Texas, of course you have a healthy fear of it. But I don't get a lot of those. Like I've dealt with some really bad ones, but never like in my own home. The one that came in that was somewhat bad, they pelted him with rocks and ran him out of there. I think every person's experience when they see him is individualized. And the thing is that even if nobody believes you, that's your experience. Hold it tight. You earn that because you had that experience. It doesn't matter what anybody else believes. It can't take away your truth. And they are such a spiritual being. They believe in God. They believe in Creator. They believe that we all are children of God. And we all have the same God. And you get this spiritual, overwhelming presence when I do. When I'm around them, I would rather be out in the woods with all of them than all of our people any day of the week.
As spiritual as they are, do they leave markings?
Pardon?
As spiritual as they are, do they leave markings or anything letting us know their spiritual ways?
Do you know, I've only seen one myself that they did, and it was really crazy. Igor Borsteff was at the house, and they made it look like the Star of David. I have photos of it I can send to you. And it looks exactly like the Star of David that they put on the ground. They took branches and made it. A lot of crosses. I see a lot of crosses. You know, what that meaning has to them, I don't know. But I do see a lot of those. You know, they had this place when I was in Michigan, and they had brought in logs. It was rectangular shape. And every night they would go there, and they would stand there and they would chant, and I would watch them from my front porch. And the only thing, every time they did it, I got this sense it was like somebody going to church. Like that was a very spiritual place for them. They had built things inside that rectangle structure that they made. And it was just, and I've never seen anything like it in my life, never have again. But when you saw them go there, the entire feeling you got was like they were going there to connect with God. There's no doubt in my mind.
Robin, 20 seconds. Or a little bit longer. Tell everybody where they can find your information.
Sure. If you need anything, you can email me at rlynne and then a period at rlyn period forestpeople. So it's arlyn.forestpeople@gmail.com. Or you can find me on Facebook under Robin Haynes McCrae. If you do it under Robin McCrae, I'll never get it. But if you do it under Robin Haynes McCrae, I will respond.
Excellent. Robin, it's always a pleasure to have you on Spaced Out Radio. We love you around here, and we will talk to you next week. Good luck with your search for Sasquatch in North Carolina.
Yeah, and again, I'm so sorry for all the coughing. I feel terrible.
That's all right.
But yeah, I love you guys, and we will see you next week. Hopefully we have good reports.
We love you too, Robin. Thank you so much. We got Mr. Ron Bumblefoot Thal rocking in the background with Little Brother is Watching. Bumblefoot is the official music of Spaced Out Radio, rocking us in and out of every single show. Get your horns up for the guitar god himself. Special thanks to everybody listening in at work, at home, in your cars, wherever you may be. Thank you to everyone in our chat rooms tonight. YouTube, Twitch, LGAP, Facebook, Spreaker, LinkedIn, the Space Travelers Club, and on Twitter at hashtag Spaced Out Radio. I know you're out there somewhere. Remember, this show is copyrighted by Spaced Out Radio and SOR Media Ventures Limited. Thank you so much for choosing to share your evening with us, because together, my friends, we're watching. We own the night. Mr. Bumblefoot, we need a favor. We need you to take us home. Yes, the Woo train has docked for the night. But soon, my friends, we shall ride again. Your seats are always available. Your tickets never expire. And if you want to bring a friend, we got room for them too. Good night. I don't know if you saw it or not. Probably didn't. Trying to figure out if my flag moved or if I had a shadow walk in my room.
Setup.
What's that?
I like your new setup.
Yes. I've turned my desk 90 degrees.
Yeah. Now, is the window uncovered yet?
No, the window is right there.
Yeah, I know. Remember the one that kept looking at you through the window?
Yeah.
Well, I love you, and I'm so sorry about the coughing.
Oh, don't worry about the coughing, my dear. like I said, it happened to me last night.
And I just could not stop. But I'm
Good.
going to go to bed.
You go.
And I love you guys, and I will talk to you later. I'll see you next week.
Thank you, my friend. You take care. Okay?
Bye, babe.
Good night. That is Robin McCrae. Robin McCrae. Chasing the Sasquatch is Robin McCrae. Gotta love it. Got to love it. Mm-hmm. Gotta love it. Thanks to the other side. Grew it myself. I'll put that comment up there. It's a nice comment. Hi, Beth Noyes. How are you? Excuse me. We ready to download yet? Yes, we are. Yes, we are. Oh, it's Gildo. The other side. Gildo, what's happening, buddy? What are you up to there, Gilbert? Dave, what are you going to do when your friend is there? Taking the night off. They'll be up Friday morning and we're heading straight into the forest. That's what's happening. To be blunt, that is exactly what's happening. Marquise will be filling in on Friday night. Skip to my Lou. I don't read books. I love books. Got a shelf full of books. Haven't read one of them. Dave don't have time to read books. Dave's a little busy. Dave barely has time to mow his lawn. Alone. Read a book. Nick, I'm gonna try and do some hits. I do have to be careful though because I don't want to spoil the project for anyone. But it's gonna be cool. I will do my best. Excuse me. Thanks, Derek Galloway. It only rocks when you come a knocking. The Derek Galloway. Any other questions? It's only 3. It's midnight here. Because I only average about 6 hours sleep a night, and then I work 15 hours a day. I get tired. I apologize, but I get tired. Like right there. Almost forgot where I was there for a second. Duh. Hey, gorgeous Larry. Still the same show, Gildo. Just more people to enjoy it with. Never about chatters, Debster. Never about chatters. Although I will admit there has been times where I have had dreams of partying with our chatters. I will admit that. I'm thinking about growing that handlebar back once we're done the filming thing. I feel a good strong handlebar coming. No, like partying with the fans, like when I was prepping for Vegas, for when we all met up there, I was having great dreams of all of us partying together. Oh yeah. And then when that night we had our VIP party, that was phenomenal. Just phenomenal. Man, was that fun. Me too, Timoth man. See if I can find a good Timoth man picture here. Still looking. Looking for Vegas. Trying to find Tim Mossman's beard. I know it's around here somewhere. Come on, Tim Mossman's beard. Where are you hiding? Where the hell did it go? I don't know where it went, dude. We had a few pictures taken together. I don't even know. What the frig is going on here? I'm getting pissed. Fuck, it disappeared with my passport. Yes, she did, Travis. William Mustus. She got good aliens. Thank you, Tim. If you ever get a chance to meet Tim Mothman, he's one of the coolest dudes out there, man. The fantastic goatee. See, that's how I know I took pictures of you, because that damn goatee. Gorgeous. Okay, I'll be right back, guys. All right. I am back. I had a little incident. I had a moth fly in my ear. A moth. Who does that? I don't even know if it's out. I think it is. I'm not sure. It's the weirdest feeling. Flew right into my ear. Like, who does that? I don't even know. I don't even know if it's in there, if it worked its way in, or if it flew out. I don't know. Hi, Angela Kraus. I think it's out. So weird. So weird. The demon, what's going on? Close that out. Merle tomorrow night with special guest Brandon Alvis. It's going to be fun. Jimmy999X, welcome to SOR chat from Boston, Mass. How you doing? Home of Milan Lucic and the Bruins. Gildo, you were never, ever kicked out. You were timed out. You were never kicked out. You were timed out for being rude. Thurston Howell III, and Aussie Ange. How's it going? Where am I here? There I am. All right, tomorrow on the show, we got Merle coming up with Brandon Alvis. And I want to say a big thank you tonight to Typical Skeptic, Louis ×3, W. Decker, Deb ×2, Charles, Mama Catherine, Surf Jer, Jocelyn, MM3, Human Carl Tex, and Izzy Stradlin for the great super chats. Don't forget after the show to leave a thumbs up, thumbs down, thumbs sideways, whatever you feel we deserve. And we will see you all tomorrow night on Ghost of the Great White North. See you tomorrow.
Stay healthy, my friend.
You too.
If you need bail money, give me a call.
Always, Dad. Take care.
You too.